In a world that often feels empty and cold, sometimes a single unexpected sound can change everything. High in the stillness of the mountains, a faint cry slices through the silence. It's weak, distant, yet sharp enough to stir the night. Inside a lonely cabin, a hunter stiffens. A baby? Out here? He doubts his own ears. More likely a rat, or something worse. His hand closes around the haft of an axe. Rising to his full height, he moves with the weight of someone long accustomed to danger. Whoever has trespassed into his territory won't leave alive. Few ever slip past his traps, but his instincts never lie. He pushes through the door, weapon raised, ready to strike. The night greets him with nothing, just trees, wind, and shadows. His chest tightens. For a moment, he wonders if his mind is betraying him again. Ever since the doctor's verdict, that he and his wife would never have children, phantom cries have haunted his solitude. But then it comes again. Not a trick. Not an echo. A cry, real and piercing. Following the sound, he stops dead in his tracks. There, resting in a small wooden crate, lies a baby wrapped in white cloth. His calloused hands tremble as he lifts the child. The hardened hunter who moments ago was ready to kill now cradles the infant with unexpected care. He looks down at the tiny face, so still and serene, and something deep inside stirs. A warmth he thought he'd never feel again. As if his own heart is beating twice in the still night. He pulls the child closer, the weight in his arms strangely natural, like it was always meant to be there. Just then, the door creaks open behind him. A woman's voice drifts out. "Vincent, what's going on?" He turns. "Oh Lena, did I wake you?" His voice is softer now. Her eyes fall on the bundle in his arms. She stops cold. "Why?" Her voice falters. "Why do you have a baby?" Vincent glances from the child to his wife, words stuck in his throat. "Well, the thing is..." He stands beneath the moonlight, silver glow wrapping around him like a veil. At last, he speaks the only truth that feels right, words his heart already knew. His hours. And there, under the starlit sky, something extraordinary unfolds. The child, Sharon, stirs. His tiny eyes open, his small hand lifts, and in that instant the heavens respond. A powerful wind sweeps through the valley, clouds gather where moments before the sky was clear, and rain pours down, soaking the cracked, thirsty earth. The long drought ends in a single night. From that moment on, Chiron's life is no ordinary tale. As he grows, strange powers awaken within him, forces that shield the village from falling stars and fend off the beasts that once prowled their borders. Fields flourish, water flows freely, and hunger becomes a memory. The boy never rests, always studying, always seeking new ways to protect the people who had become his own family. To the villagers, his gifts are nothing short of divine. They call it magic. Years later, a gentle voice breaks the quiet. "Reading again?" A boy looks up from a thick book titled Tale of the Kind Mage. Arian Shironi, 12 years old now, beams with a bright smile. "Dad!" Vincent stands before him, a towering figure with a massive bundle of wood strapped across his back. But his stern features melt into warmth as he ruffles his son's hair. With a laugh, he lifts Shironi off the ground, spinning him lightly in his arms. "You're too cute for your own good," he teases. "I'm done for the day. Let's head home and eat." Nestled against his father's broad chest, Shironi tilts his head up. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "How does someone use magic?" Vincent chuckles, already guessing where the question came from. "That book again." "Well," he says with a grin, "if you can bring down a bear with a single arrow, or chop a tree in one swing, isn't that its own kind of magic?" Shironi smiles faintly, but his eyes hold the question still. Together, they walk toward the village. Not far off, two boys notice them. One shakes his head. "That kid's always reading. Never wants to play." The other squints at the book in Shironi's arms. "And how does he even understand stuff like that? He's just a kid." Besides, the first one mutters, "He's so skinny. Doesn't even look like Mr. Vincent's son." Their whispers grow sharper, crueler. One lowers his voice. "My mom said Vincent just found him somewhere." The other smirks. Yeah. Maybe he's not really. The whispers cut sharp. Maybe he was abandoned. That's why he's so strange. Vincent hears every word. His sharp hunter's ears don't miss a thing. His hand tightens until his knuckles turn white, fury burning in his chest. For a moment, he wants to snap, but then his gaze falls on the boy at his side. Shironi walks along, lost in his own thoughts, replaying his father's words. Felling a tree with one swing. His eyes sparkle, and he beams up at Vincent. That's magic, right? The boy's innocent joy is enough to dissolve the storm inside him. Vincent exhales, loosening his grip. Shironi, he says gently, steering the moment away. Since you helped me today, how about this? Tomorrow, we'll go to the city. I'll buy you your favorite fruit. Shironi's eyes widen, glowing with excitement. Really? Wow. His chair brings a faint smile to Vincent's face, though inside he feels the sting of guilt. I'm sorry, son. Sorry I can't shield you from the cruelty of others. He rests a firm hand on Shironi's head. No matter what anyone says, you are my son. Shironi grins, but behind the smile his thoughts race elsewhere. His curiosity is unquenchable, his bright blue eyes filled with questions he can't silence. I want to know more. I need to understand magic. The very next day, father and son arrive in Cree, a bustling city crowned by a grand castle high on a hill. From the back of the cart, Shironi stares in awe. So this is a city. Everywhere he looks, the streets are alive. Merchants call out, aromas of fresh food drift past, nobles stroll by in fine clothes, and children run with laughter echoing through the stone roads. It's a world far removed from his quiet village. Vincent pulls the cart to a stop at a crowded market. He crouches down, looking Shironi in the eye. Wait here at the fruit stand until I'm back. And listen, stay out of alleys, and don't go near any nobles. I trust you, but be careful. Shironi nods brightly. I know, Dad. Don't worry. Vincent pats his shoulder, then leads the horse away. Shironi lingers at the stand, wanting to be useful. He finds a board, grabs a piece of charcoal, and carefully writes a sign to attract customers. The old vendor watches in surprise. Well now, you really know how to write. Shironi just smiles, brushing it off. It's fine. I want to help. The old man chuckles, impressed by how sharp and well-mannered this boy is. For a moment, he wishes his own mischievous grandson could be more like him. But Shironi's curiosity pushes forward. Grandpa, do you know magic? The man mishears him and asks something about traffic. Shironi shakes his head and raises the book in his hands. No, magic. How do people use magic? This time, the old man laughs as he finally understands. Ah, magic. I see now. He nods knowingly. Kids always go through this phase. First dragons, then heroes, and sooner or later, mags. Clutching his book tightly, Shironi waits eagerly for an answer, his eyes fixed on the old man. The elder scratches his head. I don't know much about that, but over there, he points down the street, that place has plenty of books on the subject. Shironi follows his finger and spots a shop. A bookstore? The old man smiles. Go take a look. But don't stay long, come right back. Shironi beams with excitement. I will. He dashes off without another word. Left behind, the old man bends down and picks up Shironi's book. A nostalgic smile tugs at his lips. He remembers being a boy himself, buried in fairy tales. But when he flips the pages open, the smile fades. Instead of stories, the book is filled with strange diagrams and complicated symbols. His eyes widen. What on earth? He mutters. He glances at the title again, Tale of the Kind Mage. Then Shironi's earlier question echoes in his mind. Did he ask, how to use magic? Not just what it is, but how to actually perform it. That's a very different question. Meanwhile, at the bookstore, Shironi reaches toward a shelf, only for his hand to be slapped away. No! What do you think you're touching with those filthy hands? The shopkeeper glares at him sharply. Shironi looks up nervously. Can I just take a peek? She scoffs. These aren't toys. They are valuable books for nobles, not peasants like you. Her scolding cuts into him, but then the doorbell chimes. A well-dressed man steps in, and instantly her tone changes. She greets him with a sugary smile. It's the head butler of a noble family. While she flatters her customer, Shironi takes the chance to flip through a book. To his disappointment, it looks almost the same as his own. Nothing new. He closes it with a sigh, thinking how hard it is just to read here. I even washed my hands before coming, he grumbles quietly. His eyes shift when he notices the head butler leaving the shop, carrying a case stuffed with books. Shironi tilts his head. Why would a noble need so many books? That curiosity of his stirs again. Without hesitation, he decides to follow. He slips into the alley, keeping his eyes on the man ahead. Shironi stops dead in his tracks. The butler pops open the briefcase, and without a care, dumps all the brand new books onto a mountain of trash. Shironi's eyes widen. He can't believe what he's seeing. Perfectly good books, just thrown away like garbage. He stands frozen, staring at the pile, until a painful truth hits him. So this is where Dad got his books. Kneeling down, he picks one up from the heap, his chest tight with heartache. Laughter drifts past him. He looks up to see two noble women, dressed in elegance, strolling by with books in their hands. They move with confidence, as though the world belongs to them. Shironi watches silently, a single question pressing into his thoughts. What makes them so different from me? His father's warning echoes in his mind. Don't cross paths with nobles. He glances down at his worn shoes, his plain clothes. The sting of unfairness cuts deep. Why is it okay for them, but not for me? His eyes burn, tears welling as he turns away, feeling smaller than ever. But before he can take another step, a heavy hand grips his shoulder. Hey, kid. A city guard towers above him, face set in stone. This isn't a place for kids to wander. The guard nods toward a grand stone archway nearby. Behind it lies a district reserved only for nobles. Another guard approaches, squinting at Shironi. Where are you from, boy? Panic surges through him. Close by, he blurts, tugging at the grip on his arm. The guards exchange a look, suspicion in their eyes. To them, he could be a runaway orphan, or worse, a scout for bandits. The first guard tightens his hold. You're coming with us. In a flash, Shironi twists out of his old jacket, slipping free. The guard is left holding nothing but empty cloth. What? The man roars. Where'd he go? Both guards scramble, humiliated that a scrawny child just outsmarted them. Meanwhile, Shironi hides in a flower bed, chest heaving, heart hammering in his ears. He peeks out cautiously, checking the street. When he's sure they've moved on, he exhales a shaky sigh and brushes leaves from his hair. Looking down, he notices the dirt on his clothes, his bare feet. Dad's going to scold me for losing that jacket. Then he spots something nearby, his other shoe, lying forgotten on the cobblestones. Quietly, he tiptoes out, slips it back on, and steadies himself. Then, from beyond the wall he's pressed against, a calm voice drifts into the air. What is magic? That will be the topic of our lesson today. Cheers erupt from young voices on the other side. Shironi stiffens. His pulse quickens. A magic academy? He presses his ear to the cold stone, listening with all his might. The headmaster continues, explaining why magic isn't something to toy with, why you can't simply spark a fire just for fun. Then he asks the class, what do you think is the most important talent for learning magic? Answers fly back one after another. Knowledge. Hard work. Money. The headmaster chuckles. No, none of those are correct. Shironi leans closer, captivated. The greatest talent a mage can have, the headmaster says, is insight. The students fall silent, confused. He poses a new question. Can any of you explain why 1 + 1 = 2? No one answers. That strange feeling you're having right now, he explains, that's insight. It's the ability to grasp a truth before it can be proven. Even without evidence, you know it's real. He continues, voice steady and sure. We all understand 1 + 1 = 2. That truth has always existed. Magic is the same. It is a law of the world, something we can feel and accept through insight. A student pipes up. So, does that make someone a genius? The headmaster laughs warmly. Yes. And if you sharpen that talent, you too can become such a mage. Shironi swallows hard, his mind spinning. Could I ever have that chance? The question aches inside him, heavy with despair. And then, that's right, child, the headmaster's voice rings out, cutting through the air like a blade. You, standing behind the wall. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Shironi jolts as if struck. His heart slams against his chest. He's been discovered. Fear floods in. Run. Hide. He glances down at his ragged clothes, his dirty shoes. He's just a poor boy who doesn't belong here. If they catch him, they could do anything. But then, something shifts inside him. A single, piercing clarity breaks through the panic. If I don't climb this wall right now, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. His body moves before his fear can stop him. With a burst of adrenaline, he scrambles up the wall. Shironi claws his way up the rough stone wall, fingers and toes scraping against every gap and crack he can find. With one final heave, he pulls himself over the top, chest heaving, eyes wide, terror and determination locked together in his gaze. He lands on the other side, breathless, and finds himself in a sunlit courtyard. Under the shade of a great tree sit a group of students, all staring at him in stunned silence. And at their center, an old man with a long white beard, his presence calm yet commanding. Headmaster Mage Alpheus. The old man's eyes soften, a warm smile tugging at his lips. Did you come to keep this old man company? Shironi stands before them, dirty, disheveled, leaves tangled in his hair, but his eyes burn with an unshakable resolve. He knows this moment could change everything. By climbing that wall, he hasn't just crossed stone and mortar. He has stepped out of his world, and into one he was never meant to enter. Slowly, he moves forward. His small frame looks even smaller in his ragged clothes, out of place in the pristine courtyard of Alphea's Magic Academy. Gasps ripple through the noble students. Their whispers sharpen into accusations. Here's a commoner. Get him out of here. The idyllic calm shatters, replaced by scorn and disgust. Shironi freezes, rooted in place, the weight of their contempt crushing down on him. His throat tightens, a bead of sweat sliding down his temple. But then, a raised hand from the headmaster stills the crowd. A quiet chuckle escapes his lips. It's all right, he says gently, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Tell me, child, what did this old man say that drew you here? Shironi swallows hard. His voice, though trembling, carries a raw and desperate honesty. I want to see magic. The headmaster tilts his head, amused. Have you never seen magic before? Shironi shakes his head firmly. I've read about it in books, but I've never seen it for real. Before the old man can reply, a student sneers. Liar! What kind of commoner reads books? The insult hangs in the air, but Shironi doesn't flinch. His gaze stays locked on the headmaster. He bows deeply, his voice filled with earnest plea. It doesn't matter what spell you show me. Please, just once. Let me see it. The headmaster's warm chuckle swells into a booming laugh. Very well. It's not difficult at all. He nods, deciding to grant the boy's wish. I'll show you a spell that calls the wind. The students gasp in delight. Wind. A simple concept, yet in the hands of a mage, even the ordinary becomes something extraordinary. Shironi stands utterly still, every muscle tense, bracing for the moment his dream finally collides with reality. Anticipation coils inside Shironi like a spring. And then, it happens. A powerful gust bursts forth from the headmaster. Not just a breeze, but a force so strong it lifts them all off the ground. Weightless. Shironi's heart leaps as he's swept into the sky, the world spinning below. The students cheer, laughter filling the courtyard. And for the first time, he feels it too, the pure joy of soaring, more incredible than anything his books had ever promised. This is fun. But just as suddenly as it began, the magic fades. Gravity yanks them back down, the ground rushing up in a blur. Shironi screams. And then a booming laugh echoes through the courtyard. The headmaster's hearty voice shakes the air as Shironi's fall slows, his body drifting down like a feather. His feet touch the grass gently, the terror vanishing as fast as it came. All around him, the students land just as softly, still giggling from the thrill. The headmaster strokes his long white beard, his eyes glinting. "How was it?" he asks with a wide, satisfied grin. "That is magic." Shironi drops to his knees, his thoughts racing. He saw it. He felt it. But it wasn't enough. Something deeper gnaws at him. Magic, what is it really? The headmaster starts to give a simple explanation, but Shironi blurts out, voice trembling with intensity. "It doesn't matter if I can't understand it." Tears sting his eyes as his voice cracks into a shout. "Please, just tell me the truth." He doesn't want tricks. He doesn't want wonder for wonder's sake. He wants the essence, the core, the truth of magic itself. Gasps ripple through the students. Whispers rise. "How rude! Who does he think he is?" But the headmaster doesn't scold. He only studies Shironi, his expression thoughtful. The boy stands his ground, small and fragile in body, yet his resolve radiates like fire. He hadn't climbed that wall for entertainment. He came seeking knowledge. The headmaster's lips curl into a slow, amused smile. "Very well. Then I'll explain it, a bit more complicatedly." He leans in, his voice low, measured. Magic is an act beyond common sense. It is a mental operation that searches for the truth of reality. He tilts his head. "Too difficult." But Shironi is already muttering, piecing it together. An irrational reality. But maybe because of that, it's actually closer to the truth. The courtyard falls silent. A ragged boy, barefoot and filthy, speaks words that could challenge scholars. The headmaster's eyes widen, a spark of delight flashing in their depths. "Was that in your books as well?" Shironi meets his gaze, clear and unwavering. "No. I just saw similarities. Many times, in many places." Shironi's voice is steady as he finishes his thought. Great ideas were once seen as irrational, even rejected. But in time, they became truth. So maybe the real truth is hidden inside irrationality. That's what I believe. The courtyard falls silent. The headmaster bursts into laughter, stroking his beard with delight, utterly astonished by this boy. The noble students, meanwhile, look on in confusion, unable to grasp what just happened. Then Shironi asks the question that matters most. "What do I have to do to learn magic?" The headmaster studies him closely. This child isn't just curious. He isn't satisfied with shallow answers, he digs, he questions, he seeks truth with his own mind. Brilliant. But the headmaster's expression turns grave. He's just a commoner. The odds are impossible. Better to show him the reality of this path than to simply speak of it. "Shun," he calls out, "enter the spirit zone." A girl with purple braids steps forward, bowing politely. "Yes, headmaster." Shironi watches, puzzled. "Spirit zone?" Shuamin closes her eyes. Just for a moment, the world holds still. When they open again, they shine with a soft, ethereal blue glow. The headmaster lifts his closed fists. "Very well. How many coins am I holding?" Without hesitation, Shuamin answers, 6. He opens his hand, 6 silver coins glint in the sun. "Correct." Shironi gasps aloud. How did she know? The headmaster explains calmly. When a mage enters deep focus, the mind grows sensitive, able to perceive everything around it. A true magician can sense the leaves on a distant tree, one by one. Shuamin speaks again, her glowing eyes fixed. "There are 3 now." The headmaster reveals his other hand, half the coins tucked away. She had sensed it perfectly. "This," he says, "is the spirit zone. A state of extreme mental sensitivity. A magician who enters this state perceives the world in ways beyond reason. And through that awareness, they can begin to bend reality itself." He adds, "She didn't merely count coins. She felt everything happening in this moment, all at once." Shironi's heart pounds. Maybe I can do that too. As though hearing his very thought, the headmaster looks at him. Anyone can. The first step, practice in silence. Focus inward. First, you sense yourself, then, you erase yourself. The headmaster's tone shifts, carrying the weight of a riddle. Although anyone can do it, not everyone can. When you succeed, an entirely new world will open to you. Do you understand? Shironi frowns, turning the words over in his mind. If I can't sense myself, then it's impossible to erase myself. The headmaster throws back his head with laughter. Marvelous! He surprises me yet again. Then comes the true challenge. Will you attempt it? Right here, right now. Every eye in the courtyard sharpens on Shironi. This is the test. Fail here, and the path of magic will be forever closed to him. Shironi closes his eyes. His body goes still. Sense myself. But what is myself? His brain? No, that's just flesh. His body? That too is only matter. His senses and his thoughts, those are not him either. They are limits. Shackles. The goal isn't to define who he is. It's to simply sense. Piece by piece, he strips it away. His body. His thoughts. Even the very idea of his own identity. Until only one thing remains. A single, untethered awareness. His entire will sharpens into a single point. Breakthrough. From the outside, nothing has changed. He stands silent and still, a boy with closed eyes. The students glance at each other, unimpressed. After a long pause, the headmaster speaks. Well? What did you feel? Shironi's eyes snap open, dazed. His voice is distant, trembling. Sound. I heard all sounds. Snickers ripple through the students. The headmaster's shoulders sag. Is that all? His tone is heavy with disappointment. So he failed, just as I thought. The spirit zone, he explains to the others, is a higher perception. A fusion of the senses. Seeing taste. Feeling the shape of the world against your skin. Simply hearing sounds is not it. He pats Shironi's head, gentle but firm. Well done. With practice, you'll learn to hear more. Rising to his feet, he addresses the class. Our special lesson ends here. Back to the academy. The nobles gather their books and follow, their laughter echoing as they leave Shironi standing alone in the sun. The headmaster lingers, stealing one last glance at the boy. What a shame. Such brilliance, but trapped by birth. If he'd been born a noble, trained from the beginning, who knows what he could have become? He sighs heavily. You cannot save every talented child. And then he turns away. Dejected, Shironi hauls himself back over the wall, returning to the world that had always been his. He drops hard onto the other side, stumbling as he lands. His chest heaves. Sweat and tears blur together on his face. It really, he pants, pressing a hand to the cold stone, it really worked. His blue eyes widen, shimmering with revelation. The headmaster was wrong. He hadn't just heard. He had felt. He had done it. The spirit zone had opened. And though the headmaster believed he failed, inside Shironi's heart burned the truth. Inside his mind, it hadn't just been sound. It was all sound, vast, infinite, crushing in its immensity. Is this the spirit zone? It hadn't been mere hearing. It was as if his very being had been ripped apart, scattered across the world. His consciousness stretched into something endless, terrifying, yet breathtaking. For a fleeting moment, he wasn't just a boy anymore. He was the world itself. The sheer magnitude of it brings tears streaming down his cheeks. His body trembles as he forces himself up. And then, he runs. Through crowded streets, through twisting alleys, he runs blindly, the memory of that unbearable vastness clinging to him. His chest tightens. He wipes his face with shaking hands, breath hitching in his throat. It lasted only an instant. But in that instant, he had shattered the prison of flesh. He had been infinite. Lost in the haze, he doesn't see where he's going until, crash. He slams into someone and sprawls across the cobblestones with a sharp cry. Pain shoots through him as he scrambles to his knees. I'm sorry. Towering above him is a group of rough-looking thugs. The hell are you? One snarls, his face twisting with anger. You trying to piss me off? Before Shironi can move, a hand grips his shirt and hauls him up. If you bump into someone, you pay for it, the man growls. What are you, from a rival gang? Terror floods Shironi's eyes as the thug leers. You here to kill me, brat? Suddenly, a calm, almost bored voice slices through the air. What's going on here? Did something interesting happen? Shironi looks up, relief washing over him. Miss Amy. A girl steps into view, her brilliant red hair catching the light. The thugs stiffen instantly. A noble. Shironi pleads with his eyes for her help. The thug holding him forces a laugh, his voice dripping with lies. This bastard tried to kill someone. I was just teaching him a lesson. No, it was an accident. Shironi cries, frantic. His words are cut short by a fist slamming into his stomach. The air rushes from his lungs as he collapses, coughing violently. Shut your mouth, another thug sneers. You think we'd believe you? They crowd around him, their voices cruel. Degenerate bastard. Just like your mother. The leader's eyes narrow as he crouches closer. Then he smirks. Look at this kid, your eyes. They changed. You mad or something? That was the breaking point. Fear melts away, replaced by a cold, sharp fury. Shironi lunges, but he's just a boy. The thugs swat him aside with ease, fists and boots raining down on him. Don't hit his face, one of them barks. We can still sell him. Stop. Stop it. Amy's voice cuts through like a whip, firm and commanding. You'll kill him. The beating halts. She strides forward, crouching beside Shironi's bruised body. Are you all right? Shironi can only hiccup weakly, tears streaking his dirt-stained face, pain and humiliation choking him. The thug leader scoffs. Don't look at me. I didn't do anything. Amy exhales, her expression flat, almost bored. Is this really the most fun you can come up with? The thugs snicker among themselves when Amy demands to know what they plan to do. We'll sell him to a slave house down south, one sneers. He's just a commoner. No one will miss him. Shironi's eyes go wide with horror. What? Panic grips him, his voice breaking as he cries out desperately for his parents. Amy tilts her head, hand resting on her chin, her expression unreadable. A slave shouldn't have any flaws, right? Then we should confirm that. The thugs burst into raucous laughter, twisting her words instantly. Oh, I get it. You want us to strip him down. They leer at Shironi. You want to get hit again, brat? Shironi freezes in terror, confusion clouding his face. Amy's cheeks flush bright red with anger. Take what off? She snaps, furious. I just wanted to see his face. Her gaze shifts back to Shironi, battered, bleeding, but somehow still holding himself together. She narrows her eyes, unsettled. Why isn't he panicking? And then she sees it. Something changes. Shironi looks up, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly, piercing blue light. The lead thug keeps mocking him, his mouth open mid-jeer. Then, time slows. A fly drifts lazily past the thug's face. Shironi sees the shimmer of its wings, the intricate facets of its compound eyes. The world crawls to a halt, birds hanging frozen in the sky, rats stiff in the shadows. His back in the spirit zone. The world dissolves into a vast lattice of information, lines of energy binding everything together. The thugs. Amy. Even himself, he sees them not as flesh, but as constructs of life force. This is us. A strange calm settles in his chest. Around him pulses a storm of raw vitality, and threaded through it, a surge of crackling energy, wild and dangerous. I'm in. The headmaster's voice echoes in his mind. I'll show you a spell that creates wind. And suddenly, it's not just a memory. He's accessing it. The shape of the spell. The feel of the wind. It becomes his. Energy pours into him, building, climbing higher. The thug, still oblivious, snarls in his face. You deaf? You think I'm joking? Shironi's glowing eyes lock onto him. Amy sees it. Her breath catches, she knows what's coming. Wait, stop. Too late. A deafening roar bursts forth as a massive surge of wind explodes from Shironi's body. The thugs are hurled through the air like ragdolls, their screams drowned out by the violent vortex. Crates shatter, debris spins into the sky, the entire alley tearing apart in the storm. And at its center, Shironi sits motionless, calm within the chaos, his body cradled in the eye of the hurricane he created. The storm fades, the dust settling. Shironi's glowing eyes blink open, dazed, reflecting the devastation around him. The thugs writhe on the ground, broken and bleeding. Amy's hair whips around her, red strands blazing like fire as a dark, oppressive aura bursts from her. Her voice is sharp, furious. Hey! You! Her eyes blaze crimson as she roars at him. What the hell are you? She seizes him by the collar, her rage shaking in her grip. Where did you learn magic? How can a commoner? Her words are cut off by the echo of shouting in the distance. The city guards. They are coming. Amy clicks her tongue in frustration. The guards mustn't find them here. In a blur, she scoops Shironi into her arms and leaps away with impossible speed. Shironi's breath catches. How did she move like that? Behind them, voices ring out. Shouts echo about men down in the alley. But Amy is gone, vanishing into the distance with the boy in tow. Moments later, Shironi finds himself alone. The alley lies in ruins, crates shattered, debris scattered across the cobblestones. The thugs are sprawled unconscious, broken by the storm he unleashed. His hands shake. His chest tightens. This was me. If the guards arrive, they'll never believe his side of the story. He has to run. The cries of panicked citizens rise around him as people pour into the street, calling for help. And so he flees. Through the cold, twisting streets he runs, his mind clouded with fear and the weight of what is done. Only one thought guides him. Find Dad. The night presses in, the city unforgiving and cruel. This world is cold, he thinks. This is the world of the infinite mage. Meanwhile, at the Grand Karmis estate, Amy storms through the door, muttering to herself. Her father lowers his newspaper, raising a brow. You're back early. Did you skip class again, Amy? She huffs, arms crossed. I've already learned everything they teach. It's boring now. Her father sighs heavily. Even a genius can fall if she gets careless. Amy stomps toward the stairs, her usual pout ready to fire back. But she stops. Turning, her eyes sharper, more determined than he's ever seen, she speaks firmly. Dad. If you know someone at a magic academy, can you introduce me? Her father blinks, startled. This isn't her usual tantrum. This is something else entirely. That commoner boy, the one who broke the impossible, has lit a fire in her heart. Far away, winter cloaks the world in silence. Sharon! Sharon, where are you? A worried voice calls out across the snow. The landscape is blanketed in white, peaceful yet heavy with unease. Inside a small house, Vincent steps in from the cold. Olena sits by the fire, knitting. Where's Shironi? He asks. He went out to chop wood, she answers softly. Vincent stiffens. What? In this weather? Alone? Unease creeps into his chest. Something feels wrong. Snatching up a book, he heads back into the snow. I'll go find him. Crunching through the frozen woods, his thoughts drift back to that terrible day in the city. The day he almost lost his son. Shironi had told him simply that he got lost. Vincent had hugged him tight, grateful he was safe. But deep down, he knew. He knew there was more to the story. He's been haunted by it ever since. The memory of his son screaming in the night, writhing in his sleep, plagued by nightmares. It changed everything. And now, here in the quiet woods, he spots him. Shironi stands before a tree, axe in hand. His breath fogs in the frigid air, a harsh cough shaking his frame. His skin is pale, his body weak, yet his eyes burn with fierce intensity. He isn't just thinking about chopping wood. He's remembering that day in the alley. The moment magic exploded out of him, terrifying, unstoppable, magnificent. And he hasn't been able. He hadn't meant to use it, it was a spell born purely out of instinct. Only now does he realize the truth. His insight had allowed him to touch the essence of magic, but one thing was missing, the knowledge of how to actually wield it. He knew nothing of the fundamentals. Eyes closed, frustration burns within him. But when they open again, that familiar blue light returns, flickering with quiet resolve. He draws in a sharp breath. He can still do this. He can still step into the spirit zone. And just like that, the world shifts. Everything becomes a vast ocean of pulsing energy. Every sensation sharpens, the texture, the shape, even the smell. He feels the tree before him down to its very fibers. And within its heart, something stirs. A single focal point. What is that? His hand tightens on the axe. Instinct moves before thought. He doesn't aim with his eyes, he aims with what he feels. The axe swings down, striking that precise weak spot hidden deep inside the trunk. The impact roars like thunder. The massive tree shatters, collapsing in a single, flawless strike. Shironi stands breathless, stunned at what is done. It wasn't just strength. It wasn't just luck. It was magic. A small, cautious smile creeps across his face. But he isn't alone. From behind another tree, Vincent watches in disbelief. What did I just see? He whispers. His eyes widen. That was the thunder strike. The legendary woodsman's technique, felling a tree in one blow by cutting into its hidden weakness. He ducks back behind the trunk, his heart hammering. His son, his own son, was capable of that. Shironi, meanwhile, is already moving on, working the saw against the fallen log. His thoughts drift. Out of hundreds of failures, this was the first true success. It felt just like that day, like pure magic. But deep down, he knows it wasn't skill. It was instinct, nothing more. Vincent watches with tears streaming down his cheeks. Not tears of pride, but of something heavier, something painful. He clutches the book in his hand. His son didn't need flukes. What he needed was knowledge. Solid, unshakable knowledge. And so Shironi threw himself into the work, day after day, waiting for his moment. Seasons rolled by. Winter to fall. On a lonely stump, he sat meditating, then stood with axe in hand, repeating the motion again and again. Learning not to see with his eyes, but with his mind. His focus unbroken. Another swing. Another tree falls, energy crackling in its wake. He hoists the axe onto his shoulder, a little dissatisfied. Time slipped away far too quickly. He looks at the sky, surprised. Already, 5 hours? Inside the spirit zone, time dissolved into nothing. He felt one with the world around him. The rustle of leaves, the crawl of insects, the faint pull of roots drawing in water, he could sense it all. 5 hours wasn't nearly enough. He recalls the headmaster's words. A different world will unfold. Shironi smiles faintly. A different world? Yes. That was it. He walks home with a bundle of firewood through the amber autumn trees. Near the house, 2 white horses stand hitched to an ornate carriage. Guests? He wonders, setting the wood down. He pushes the door open. I'm back. His eyes find a stranger at the table with his parents. Dad. You're back already. Vincent nods toward the visitor. Shironi, come greet him. The room holds a heavy quiet. The man at the table is older, spectacles over sharp eyes. I am the assistant butler of the House of Ogent, he says. You may call me Temuran. Shironi bows. It's a pleasure. My name is Shironi. Temuran rises. His tone is cold and formal. I've come to meet you. The House of Ogent, second-class nobles. Shironi frowns. Why would a noble's butler come for him? Temuran steps forward and grabs Shironi's face, inspecting him like livestock. Do you know how to read? I've read a bit since I was little, Shironi answers. Temuran turns him around, checking his back and shoulders. Explain what you do. Shironi starts to protest, but Temuran ignores him and speaks to his parents. He has a good reputation. A woodsman's son who can read. A decent kid. Then Temuran faces Shironi directly. Do you intend to work for the House of Ogent? Shironi freezes. Temuran explains, they're clearing the Great Library, almost 10,000 books. The work will last 2 years. Others will move the volumes, but the sorting will be done by only 2 people, Temuran and Shironi. The word library lights something in Shironi's mind. Temuran's voice hardens. Only the family knows about this. If a single book is leaked, or word of this job gets out, your lives will be taken. The threat hangs in the air. Shironi finally understands the looks on his parents' faces. Temuran offers a large sum of money and says their lives are at risk. Vincent slams his hands on the table. I didn't agree because of the money, he shouts. I wanted our Shironi to be able to accomplish his dreams. Temuran laughs. What are you thinking? That he'll get a career? Stop dreaming. If not for the money, then why did you beg me to use your son? Vincent stands. Because you said he could read books. Temuran concedes that, but says he cannot watch the boy constantly. Then he leans in and delivers the final blow. Have you been lying to your son this whole time? Vincent freezes as a memory surfaces. Years ago, Olina asked if Shironi had been reading a book. At first Vincent had been baffled. Olina had taught the boy a few words for fun, but by 6 Shironi was reading on his own, devouring any book he could find. He was clever beyond the usual, and a thought lodged in Vincent's mind, maybe the boy had noble blood. The idea lingered, then clashed with guilt and love. He told himself, no, Shane is my son. He pushed the thought away and set Shironi to work with a saw, trying to keep him to the life of a woodsman. But fear kept returning. Was he trapping a brilliant child in the mountains? That fear drove Vincent to the city. He remembers begging before nobles, hands on the ground, pleading, please use my son. He told them Shironi had read since he was little and was clever. He asked only for one thing, not money or status, but a chance for the boy to read, to learn. Now Vincent turns to Temuran, voice shaking with accusation and regret. I don't need the money, he says. If I'd known this would happen, I would never have begged you. He slams his hands on the table and orders the man out of the house. Temuran remains unmoved, scoffing at the commoner's outburst. Before he can reply, Shironi speaks. No, father, Shironi says. I'll do it. Vincent stops. Shironi steps between them. Blue light glows in his eyes, his voice is steady. He has decided. Temuran's tone goes cold and formal. He makes clear it is not a game, the smallest rumor will cost a life. He explains the terms again and gives Shironi 1 week to back out. Once you enter the manor, he says, you will not be able to leave until it's over. Temuran leaves. The door shuts. Vincent grabs Shironi, questions tumbling out. Why accept a task that could mean death? He repeats that it's his fault and vows to make it right. Shironi answers with a single quiet word. Father. Enough to silence Vincent's frantic words. His face is streaked with tears, heavy with regret. Then Shironi does something no one expects. He smiles, wide, radiant, a light so genuine it seems to fill the room. Thank you, he says softly, for giving me such a wonderful gift. The words strike Vincent like a hammer. His strength collapses, and a raw, guttural sob tears from his chest. He drags his son into his arms, clutching him as if he'll never let go. His voice breaks, trembling with both promise and desperation. He swears he'll protect him, that he'll keep the nobles away, begging only that Shironi return home alive. This isn't just a farewell, it's a father breaking apart. In the corner, Olina watches, tears streaming unchecked. Her chest aches as she thinks, Shironi, have I finally raised you well? Love, pride, and unbearable sorrow twist together in her heart as she dabs her eyes with a handkerchief. Shironi clings tightly to his father, his own tears finally falling. In that embrace, he's not a woodsman's prodigy or a boy chasing destiny, he's just a son, a child about to leave everything behind. A week passes, each day dragging like an eternity. Outside their modest home, Shironi signs the contract under Temuran's watchful eyes. The seal is pressed, the agreement finalized. Vincent stands nearby, fists trembling, a choked sound caught in his throat. His entire being screams to stop this, yet he can do nothing. The assistant wastes no time. It's time to depart. With a heavy click, the carriage door shuts behind Shironi. The sound is final, sharp, like a cell locking away the life he once knew. Inside, the carriage is ornate, suffocating in its luxury. Shironi sits between two towering men, silent. Reality presses in on him. He is utterly alone. As the wheels groan and the carriage jolts forward, he closes his eyes. The memory of his parents fills his mind, the warmth of their embrace, the sound of their voices. Mother. Father. He whispers their names like a prayer. In his thoughts, a glowing hand reaches out, desperate to hold onto that fleeting warmth. But the image slips away, thinning like smoke in the wind. Back in the present, Shironi clenches his fists, head bowed. Fear ripples through him, but he pushes it down. Don't falter, he tells himself. The carriage speeds up, carrying him deeper into the unknown. This is the chance of a lifetime, yet every step forward is laced with danger. One mistake could cost him everything. He steadies his breathing, bracing himself. He is entering a world of power and schemes, a battlefield where nobles move pieces like pawns. And he is the newest pawn placed on the board. One question burns in his mind, sharp and merciless. Can I survive for 2 years? The carriage rumbles on. Snow stretches endlessly outside the carriage window, a silent mirror of Shironi's loneliness. The ride is long, quiet, broken only by Temiran's voice as he explains. The Ogent family, renowned warriors. Their head, a knight of great power, resides in the capital city of Kos. At last, the carriage halts. Before them rises a massive estate, sprawling and grand. Temiran gestures down a long, tree-lined path. The great walkway, he says. Shironi's jaw drops. The scale is overwhelming. Temiran notices and smirks. What's wrong? Scared already? The family is full of monsters. They pass a glittering fountain, and Shironi's eyes lock on the crest of the Ogents, a sword crossed with a compass. His pulse quickens. This is no dream. This is the real thing. Temiran leads him to a separate tower, the butler's quarters, where Shironi will stay. Inside a lavish office, Temiran waits, his voice sharp and commanding. Follow me. I'll explain your duties. Clutching his single bag, Shironi bows. I'll do my best. The heavy wooden doors creak open. Light spills across the floor. Shironi steps forward, and stops dead in his tracks. Before him stretches a library so vast it seems endless, shelves climbing into a vaulted ceiling like pillars of a cathedral. A temple of knowledge. The great library of the Ogents. Temiran lays out the task, organize the books for relocation. Hours are strict, and Shironi is forbidden from reading without permission. He hands over a stack of papers, his tone final, unbending. Shironi's gaze lingers on the endless rows of books, a universe of knowledge waiting to be unlocked. This is worth my life. When do I start? He asks without hesitation. Tomorrow, Temiran replies. The next day dawns. The grand library looms before him, the weight of 10,000 books pressing down. Shironi now wears a crisp butler's uniform, seated at a wide desk, eyes sharp with focus. It doesn't take long for him to understand why only one person can handle this job. Consistency demands a single mind. If 2 people work together, everything would fall into chaos. He thinks of a single book, The History of Swordsmanship. Should it go under swordsmanship or history? Both answers make sense. Without one guiding hand, the system collapses. A deeper realization strikes him. All knowledge is intertwined, like an infinity symbol. And at its core, the pillar that connects it all, history. History is the backbone of understanding. He imagines it as a massive tree trunk, solid, unshakable. From it, all other knowledge branches out. He scans the shelves, calculating. Out of 10,000 books, about 850 are history. A fire lights in his eyes. In 2 years, he'll read every single one. This is his path. This is how he'll become a mage. And then, footsteps echo behind him. Shironi's head snaps up at the sound of footsteps. In an instant, he shuts the book on his desk. He can't be caught reading during work hours. Temiran steps into the library. His eyes sweep over Shironi. Working overtime again? His tone is flat, unreadable. Shironi stands quickly. Yes, I am. Temuran gives him a cool look. Don't wear yourself out too quickly. The entire responsibility rests on you. I won't, Shironi answers steadily. Temuran turns as if to leave, then stops. He turns back, stepping closer. Shironi stiffens, panic tightening his chest. Did he notice? Was I caught reading? He holds his breath, bracing for the scolding. But instead, Temuran adjusts Shironi's collar. Keep your uniform sharp. Don't lower the standard of the Ogent family. His gaze drifts to Shironi's long blonde hair. He frowns. Do something about that, too. Shironi nods quickly. Understood. Good night, Temuran says before finally leaving. The moment the door closes, Shironi exhales heavily, relief washing over him. It was just about appearances. I need to stay focused for 2 years. Later, as the rain patters outside, Shironi sits alone in the silent library, hair falling loose around his face. He thinks idly about tying it back like his father's, but that isn't the real problem. The real weight is the work itself. He buries his face in his hands, staring down at yet another history tome. The sheer scale is crushing. 3 emperors. 7 kingdoms. Even the history of Thormia alone is an ocean of detail. Memorization isn't enough, he has to understand it all, every cause, every consequence. His eyes sharpen, focusing on a single line. One more sentence. One more connection. The lamp burns into the night as rain lashes the windows. Shironi pushes on, a solitary figure in a cathedral of books. At last, exhaustion wins. He slumps over the desk, asleep amid scattered notes and open pages. Later, a hand closes the book gently. Temuran, making his rounds, looks down at the sleeping boy. He exhales in mild irritation. How dull, he mutters. 1 month, stuck on a single book. If the boy had been reading magic or swordsmanship, Temuran would have banned him outright. But history? Harmless. He shakes his head. What a relief. Just another fool chasing a dream. He walks away, dismissing the boy as nothing more than a harmless dreamer, unaware that Shironi is quietly laying the foundation of real power, one dull history book at a time. 3 months pass. The great library has become routine. Shironi, now with his hair tied neatly back, works with precision at his desk. When another butler arrives to collect the day's organized books, Shironi gestures to the stack. They're all ready. The routine is smooth now, even comfortable. He has adjusted not only to the work, but also to the rhythms of the estate, quietly gathering bits of information from the servants, the unspoken rules that govern life in the Ogent household. One butler stops by, requesting a book. Shironi recognizes it immediately, it's the same one the second young master had borrowed. He hesitates, then points it out. The young master hasn't returned the last book he took. The butler just sighs. The nobles, they brush us off without a thought. When he asks, the butler smirks knowingly, lowering his voice. Let me tell you something. The nobles don't care if books vanish or secrets slip. It's us butlers who pay the price. The words hit Shironi like ice. The contract he signed, the life or death vow, means nothing to them. To the nobles, his life is worthless. The butler shrugs. Don't stress over it. But Shironi understands. Nobles live freely because commoners bear the weight of their mistakes. Servants like Temuran become cold and ruthless because a single misstep could mean the end of them. The realization makes Shironi's blood boil. He wants to scream. Before he can stew further, footsteps pound through the hall. A figure barrels into the library, wild-eyed and desperate. Shironi freezes, baffled. The boy's spiky blue hair gives him away instantly, Rian Ogent, the Lord's youngest son. A thunderous roar shakes the hall. Rian! The boy curses under his breath, scanning for cover. He lunges at Shironi, gripping his shoulders. Don't tell him I'm here, got it? Without waiting for an answer, Rian dives under a desk. The enraged voice booms again, much closer now. A massive man storms into view, his beard bristling, his bulk filling the aisle. His glare zeroes in on Shironi. You, he bellows. A blue-haired peanut ran in here, didn't he? Shironi steadies himself, replying evenly. Someone did rush in. Looked like the young master. He tilts his head politely. And you are? The man swells with pride, slamming a fist to his chest. I'm the swordsman instructor. The one with the right to thrash that brat. His voice drops, threatening. And I'll thrash you too if you're lying. Shironi's mind clicks. Slowly, a sly smile tugs at his lips. He raises a finger, pointing directly at the hiding spot. The youngest master is under that bookshelf. Hey, are you insane? Rian squeaks, his voice betraying him. He scrambles out, babbling excuses, but the instructor snatches him by the collar, his face dark with fury. With terrifying force, he slams Rian face first onto the desk. A scream rips through the library. Shironi flinches, turning his head away as the brutal punishment unfolds. The instructor hauls Rian by the leg, dragging him across the floor like a sack of grain. He needs retraining, the man growls. I'll fix him in the mountains. Rian's dazed eyes cut toward Shironi, burning with hate. You'll pay for this. Shironi exhales. He hadn't had a choice. Later, whispers spread, Rian Ogent was taken to the mountains for a month of training. During that time, Shironi kept pushing forward. That first dense history tome had devoured 20 grueling days of effort. But once he cracked it, the pieces began to fall into place. His pace exploded. In just 4 months, Shironi had devoured and mastered 82 books. The pattern was clear, only the beginning had been hard. Once the foundation was laid, the rest would come faster. With the first 200 history books under his belt, the path ahead would open wide. But even as his pace quickened, doubt crept in. Was history truly the right path? The more he read of the Mags of the past, the more the answer became clear. A scholar builds theories, a mage brings them to life. At their core, they are the same. Yet most scholars could never become mags, because they lacked the key, access to the spirit zone. Shironi stares at the book in his hands, his pulse racing. If he could combine the spirit zone with a vast backbone of knowledge, then maybe, just maybe, he could become a true mage. Hope blazes within him. Hey, you jerk! The shout crashes through the library like a thunderclap. Shironi looks up. Rian Ogent has returned. His clothes are torn, his body covered in bruises, his eyes blazing with fury. He looks like he's crawled out of hell itself. I've been waiting for this day. Rian roars. Shironi stays calm. Are you really here for that? Obviously. Rian's voice cracks with rage. He rages about the torment he endured, climbing cliffs until his fingers bled, surviving only by clutching the thought of revenge. Shironi's expression darkens. This was worse than he imagined. Why are you so quiet? Rian snarls. I asked you for one favor. I trusted you. And you snitched on me. His scream echoes through the shelves. I feel sick when I see cowards like you. Shironi doesn't back down. His voice is firm. I didn't betray you. I only told the truth. Rian seizes his collar, shaking him. Then you should have refused me from the start. Shironi exhales slowly. The strong always twist logic to suit themselves. Rian freezes for a moment, unsettled by the unshaken calm in the boy's eyes. Then his mouth curls into a savage grin. Fine, he hisses. So you're looking down on me, too? I'll show you who I really am. His tone drops low, dangerous. Follow me. Shironi's heart pounds as the realization hits. Rian is dragging him to the Ogent family's training grounds. He plans to beat him bloody until his pride is soothed. Shironi steels himself. Better to take the blows than to die. He cannot squander the chance his parents gave him. Rian tosses 2 wooden swords at his feet. One clatters toward Shironi, who fumbles to catch it. A wooden sword. Shironi blurts. It's a duel, Rian declares, eyes burning. As payment for looking down on me, you'll take the strikes of the future greatest swordsman. Shironi shouts in frustration, what did I even do that was cowardly? Rian's reply cuts like a blade. As a servant of this house, Your duty is to protect the Ojents. But you sold me out, because you were afraid. The accusation strikes deep, and for the first time, Shironi's calm begins to falter. Bring it on, Rian growls. His eyes flare, unmistakably the eyes of an Ojent. I'll even let you strike 3 times first. Shironi grips the wooden sword, its weight sinking into his hands. If he takes even one bad hit, a broken bone will send him home in disgrace. Shironi's thoughts whirl. What do I do? Then it clicks, the only move left to him. That's it. I'll try it. His resolve locks into place. 3 chances. That's all I've got. With a sharp cry, he lunges, swinging the wooden blade as hard as he can. Clang! Rian deflects it with ease, barely even moving. 1, he mutters, bored. The impact rattles up Shironi's arms, nearly knocking the sword from his hands. The strength behind Rian's block is terrifying. Gritting his teeth, Shironi steadies his grip and raises the sword high. With both hands, he brings it crashing down. Thwack! Rian stops it cold, smirking. 2. He chuckles. You've never even held a sword before, have you? Sweat trickles down Shironi's brow. Only 1 strike remains. The world narrows. His focus sharpens. Here I go. In an instant, a surge of blue light erupts around him. He drops into a low stance, every muscle taut. Rian's eyes widen. What is that? The swords collide. Wood splinters explode, a deafening crack splitting the air. Rian's face twists into fury. Now it's my turn, he snarls. But his triumph dies instantly. His eyes flick down in disbelief, his wooden sword has shattered. Broken, just like Shironi's. Shironi stands panting, gripping the broken hilt in his hand. Relief floods him. It worked. I survived. It had all been calculated. The first swing to gauge Rian's strength. The second to measure his timing. The third, a precise strike with everything he had. Rian stares at the ruined weapon, his chest heaving. His voice drops low, trembling with rage. Hey, you! Shironi freezes, relief slipping away. Where did you learn swordsmanship? Rian demands, eyes burning with anger and confusion. Shironi shakes his head. This isn't swordsmanship. It's thunder strike. He explains, his father was a woodcutter. To make up for his weak build, he taught him a special technique. A lumberjack skill. Rian's jaw clenches, his expression warping with contempt. What kind of joke is this? A technique learned while chopping trees? 15 years he had trained with the sword. 15 years. And this commoner broke his technique with a lumberjack swing. The memory surges back unbidden. A proud voice calling his name. Rian, you're amazing. His older brother, Rian Ojent, barely 12, already mastering sword smash. The teacher bowed, humbled by the boy's talent. His father's booming laugh filled the hall as he proclaimed his son a genius and ordered a grand banquet. Joy and celebration rang out through the estate. And there, in the midst of it, a small boy with spiky blue hair sat on the floor. Tears welled in his eyes as a single thought consumed him. Why can't I catch up to him? The name hammers in his skull. Rian Ojent. Back in the present, Rian's face twists, torn between shame and rage. Shironi stammers, why young master? Don't you dare. Rian explodes. His voice raw, shaking the air with pure rage. I can't acknowledge this. Rian clutches his chest as though pierced by a blade, but before Shironi can speak, Rian's roar cuts him down. Shut up. The sound makes Shironi recoil, a chill running straight through him. Rian storms to the weapon's rack and wrenches free a real steel blade, its polished edge gleaming with deadly intent. He tosses another sword at Shironi's feet, the clang echoing across the training ground. Pick it up. Shironi stares, frozen. Rian's voice drops, steady and merciless. Both our weapons broke. The match isn't over. His finger jabs toward Shironi, eyes alight with a burning fire. 1 month from now. Right here. We fight, with real swords. The words strike Shironi like a hammer. His head bows, sweat trickling down his temples. He grips the hilt, his hands trembling. Real swords? The thought screams through his mind. I might really die. Why, young master, please reconsider, Shironi begs. I've never even studied swordsmanship. Rian doesn't flinch. That's why I'm giving you time, he says coldly. If you could learn that trick while chopping trees, then you'll figure this out too. His final words hang in the air, heavy as iron. Don't even think of running. Shironi is left standing alone, the sword weighing down his hands like the weight of death itself. But beneath the crushing fear, something sparks. A vow whispered only to himself, I will overcome you. Back in the library, Shironi collapses over his desk. His thoughts spiral. The rumors come flooding back. The Ogent family passes down both black and blue hair. The head has 2 sons and 1 daughter, the eldest son, a swordsman, the daughter, a pianist of the palace, the black-haired second son, Rian, a proclaimed genius. And then, Rian. Unlike his siblings, he was branded talentless. Shironi groans, clutching his head. I was such a fool. I should have just taken the hits. Instead, I struck at the pride of someone who has lived his entire life overshadowed by genius siblings. He had assumed nobles were all extraordinary. He thought if he kept to his books, he'd be safe. But now? If he dies, his parents? The thought is too unbearable to finish. He slams his fist onto the desk. No despair. No time for that. He rises, eyes blazing. Think. Think hard. I will become a mage. He knows he has one weapon, his endurance, honed by a life in the mountains. Without hesitation, he hauls every book on swordsmanship he can find, searching for even a shred of defensive art, anything that might let him survive. He clutches a heavy tome, sweat dripping as his mind races. I'll do whatever it takes. Meanwhile, across the estate, a scream rips through the air. Rian, drenched in sweat, pounds the ground in relentless laps, muscles straining, breath ragged. His instructor stares, wide-eyed, as the boy breaks his own record at 100 laps. Pass, the instructor shouts, astonished. What's gotten into you? Training so seriously all of a sudden? Rian bends forward, gasping, his whole body trembling. Damn it, he shouts back between breaths, how is this even training? I'm still. Standing tall, Rian roars, his whole body shaking. Is that all you've got, teacher? Don't you have anything harsher? The instructor's gaze sharpens. Something's wrong with you. What happened this time? But he already suspects the truth. Could it be Rian again? Rian's eyes flicker, carrying that same familiar pain. The instructor wonders if Rian has picked up some new ability, then shakes it off. Rian had already awakened Shima. Still, the fire in Rian's eyes leaves no room for doubt. The instructor finally nods. Fine. But if you die, that's on you. Rian's voice echoes across the training ground, unwavering. Of course. And so, Shironi begins to understand the secret of a swordsman's ultimate realm, schema. An invisible, intricate map of one's own body. Just as a mage commands a spirit zone, a swordsman builds a schema. Every human carries a subconscious image of themselves, but schema takes it far beyond, pushing that idea to the extreme. Masters of schema know their body so well, they can even direct the very movement of their cells. Shironi pauses, startled. Wait, isn't this the complete opposite of spirit zone? The thought intrigues him. Should he test it? Closing his eyes, he drifts inward, a soft blue aura rising around him. The first step is simple, sensing himself. But spirit zone requires erasing that sense of self and expanding outward. Schema demands the reverse, digging deeper, peeling back the veil to uncover the truth within. If he could lift that veil, the first page of schema would be his. But soon, he realizes something. For him, schema is the opposite of his natural gift. It's inefficient, a dead end. He makes his choice. Better to use my spirit zone as the foundation and build my swordsmanship from there. He steps into the courtyard, sword in hand. Let's begin. 8 directional cuts. With a sharp cry, his blade whistles down. Meanwhile, back at the training grounds, the instructor shouts desperately. Rian! Stop it, you fool! Your muscles will rip apart. Rian bellows back, swinging at the wooden post with reckless power. They haven't torn yet. Each strike is filled with fury. Pain surges through him as he screams. Damn it! Why won't my muscles tear? Why won't my arms just give out? Tears stream as his voice cracks with rage. Why can't I use schema? Finally, the instructor rushes forward, putting a stop to it. Enough, Rian. That's enough for today. Defeated, Rian drops his practice sword. His voice falls to a whisper. Yes, teacher. Later, as the sun sinks below the horizon, the instructor tends to Rian's bruised shoulders. What's running through your head? He asks softly. Rian stares off into the distance. That my arms are killing me. The instructor's tone grows firm. Rian, in every report, I've never once written that you have talent. The words sting, and Rian flinches. Still, he fires back. That's exactly why I'm working myself to death. The instructor doesn't stop. But I do think you're good at something. Rian snorts. Dunno. I only know what I'm bad at. And that, the instructor says bluntly, is why you're no genius. Rian snaps, turning away. Stop. I already know I'm not. Are you just mocking me? The instructor allows himself a faint smile. A true genius always knows they are. Geniuses always know what they are good at. And when they put in the work, success naturally follows. We see Shironi, hunched over his books, buried in study. But what do geniuses truly fear? It isn't failure in their own field, it's relentless hard work aimed at conquering something outside their grasp. The fiery determination to challenge what they aren't naturally good at. The instructor turns his gaze toward Rian. That is the mortal enemy of geniuses. Rian mutters the words under his breath, a new light sparking in his eyes. The mortal enemy of geniuses, hair? That's the best consolation I've ever gotten. A natural enemy to the gifted, that's the road Rian chooses. He swears that even without talent, effort can carve a path where none exists. With tears streaming, a lifetime of frustration burning inside, he makes his vow. I'll win. No matter what, I'll definitely win. Meanwhile, beneath the pale moonlight, Shironi stands alone in the forest, sword at his side. A book he once read resurfaces in his mind. It defines swordsmanship as the ultimate dynamic art, built not only on strength but on psychological warfare. Its purpose, to take life. He recalls the principle of the imaginary enemy. To the untrained eye, an opponent can attack from countless angles. But Shironi has broken it down, 8 directions. Every strike, no matter how chaotic, comes from one of those 8 paths. For an entire month, he trained relentlessly, cutting in those 8 directions, defending in those same 8 lines. What once seemed like infinite chaos, he reduced to a pattern he could master. As his spirit zone ignites, a glowing blue aura flares around him. His imaginary opponent appears, attacking from the front. Shironi blocks instantly. I took a hit. Next. Then more enemies swarm him in his mind, slashes raining down from every angle. His sword becomes a blur, his body flowing like a phantom. Each clash reverberates through the night, the sound of invisible blades colliding in a storm of light and force. Faster, faster, his movements spiral into a whirlwind. His eyes shine, his focus unshakable. This isn't just training anymore. It's battle. It's survival. In the heart of the storm, Shironi stands alone, defying an endless army that exists only within his imagination. At last, the flurry ends. His sword drops to his side, and a laugh escapes him, raw, exhilarated, the laugh of someone who's uncovered a truth. So this is the path swordsmen take. He gazes up at the star-filled sky. The world of the sword, it's infinite. Just like magic. He grips his sword once more. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. I may not return. But there's no regret in his voice. For at the crossroads of life and death, he has glimpsed something extraordinary. He walks toward the arena, prepared for the trial awaiting him. The day of the duel arrives. The arena glows under torchlight. Rian stands alone in the center, sword in hand. The sound of footsteps echoes, Shironi enters, stepping into the ring. The two face each other, silence heavy between them. Rian tightens his grip on his blade, speaking low. "Let's start." His eyes lock onto Shironi, and for a moment, Rian is stunned. In just 1 month, how could this boy radiate such an aura? Such composure? He remembers their first duel, Shironi's clumsy stance, his desperate cries. But now. At first, Rian thought Shironi's words in their last fight were just empty bravado. But now the boy stands calm, steady, as if fear itself can't touch him. Rian's insecurities flare. Could this guy really be as gifted as his brother? The thought ignites his determination. "I have to win," he tells himself. He digs his heel into the dirt, muscles coiled tight, and with a roar, he surges forward. "I'm coming!" But as Rian charges, Shironi's perception shifts. His eyes glow, spirit zone flaring. The swordsmanship coming at him is refined, deadly, yet within the flow, he can see it. The attack before it even happens. Rian's eyes widen in shock. He's not looking at me, he's watching my sword. That realization rattles him. Is this brat really unafraid of death? For Shironi, it isn't fearlessness, it's clarity. To him, death and fear belong to the future, and the future itself is an illusion. He envisions a man standing on a cliff. The only thing keeping him frozen in place is the thought of falling, the imagined moment of impact. But if one abandons that illusion of the next second, any human can jump. Rian sees it too, reflected in Shironi's eyes. This isn't the will to die. This is something deeper, emotions swallowed whole, existing only in the present. But Rian roars back, defiant. "I'm not afraid of death either." His blade comes down in a savage arc. Shironi's spirit zone flashes, right side. Clang! He catches the blow, gritting his teeth through the force. Rian narrows his eyes. "So what if you can block? There's a wall you'll never cross with cheap tricks." He follows instantly, unleashing a furious barrage. Strike after strike crashes down, each one heavier, faster, harder to predict. Shironi is forced back, parrying desperately. But Rian's speed keeps climbing, beyond even what the spirit zone can track. A slash breaks through, cutting across Shironi's shoulder. Blood sprays. "Damn it!" Shironi gasps, his glowing aura flickering. Panic creeps in. "I can't keep up. I'm going to lose." Rian sees the chance. With a final roar, he raises his sword high and brings it down for the killing strike. Shironi dives to the side at the last instant, rolling across the ground. He crashes to his knees, chest heaving, staring in confusion. Why did Rian miss such a perfect opening? Rian, too, is bent over, gasping. His strength is spent. Shironi realizes the truth. Rian sneers through ragged breaths. "Just figuring it out now? This is the Ojin style, swordsmanship built for great swords. You can't withstand it." But as Shironi studies him, the truth becomes clear. Every one of those devastating swings carried Rian's own raw, grinding effort. His body is paying the price for each strike. Rian roars once more. "I'll crush you with everything I've got. Come on." The two clash again, sparks flying. But in the chaos, Shironi notices something strange. If he just followed that last cut with a clean upward strike, it would have been over. Why is he only using these huge, wide swings? Then it clicks. I see. Rian's swordsmanship is shallow. He has strength, but... Rian's strikes are powerful, but Shironi sees it now, his understanding is shallow. He has skills, yes, but no grasp of timing or flow. Their blades crash again, sparks flying. A sharp smile flickers across Shironi's face. Change of plans, he thinks. Instead of defending, he lunges. Attack! His sword shoots forward, catching Rian off guard. What? Rian stumbles, stunned. Is he attacking? Isn't he exhausted? But Shironi doesn't stop. He unleashes a relentless storm of strikes. They aren't complex techniques, just basic, fundamental slashes. Yet Rian finds himself struggling, gritting his teeth. Damn it, they're so simple. Why is it so hard to block them? A blade slips past his guard, carving into his chest. Rian lets out a raw cry of pain. Shironi presses forward, eyes cold, movements precise. He has to keep the rhythm. He can't give Rian a chance to recover. Rian, bent over, gasps for air. His mind begins to spiral. This doesn't make sense. This can't be happening. It's impossible. Then, memories come crashing back. His father's booming laugh, showering praise on his brother Rian. The sound echoing, while he, the forgotten child, stood crying in the shadows. His sister's hand on his shoulder. Her mocking smile, sharp as a blade, relishing his failure. Something inside Rian snaps. A primal scream rips from his throat. Don't mess with me. I'll become the greatest swordsman in the world. He raises his blade, abandoning all form, all technique, and hurls it down in a savage, desperate strike. Shironi's eyes widen. What? He's just swinging wildly. But then, his focus sharpens. No, wait. For the first time, he can't read the trajectory. The chaos of Rian's raw fury creates too many variables. It's unpredictable. Rian roars, pouring every ounce of hatred, of pain, of frustration into this one final blow. The arena seems to fall silent. And then, impact. Rian's sword slams into the dirt, inches from Shironi's foot. Shironi gasps, blood soaking his clothes, his entire body trembling. Rian too is panting heavily, staring in disbelief at his buried sword, mind struggling to comprehend. Is this really possible? Rian mutters, eyes wide. Because standing before him, alive, Shironi holds his own blade pointed directly at Rian's throat. We flash back to the instant of decision. As Rian's wild strike came crashing down, Shironi prepared to block. But at the last moment, he shifted his grip. Instead of meeting the blow head-on, he angled his blade upward, a perfect parry. The strike was deflected harmlessly into the ground. Now, both stand broken, gasping for air. Shironi's chest heaves, his body screaming in protest. He stares at Rian, shaken. What the hell is he? Even Shironi can't believe it. He never truly thought he'd win. And yet here he stands, sword steady, victory his. But then another thought chills him, what comes next? Because duel or not, Rian is still. Shironi's sword is still raised, but in the back of his mind, unease gnaws at him. Rian is a noble. He's just humiliated him twice now, there's no telling what comes next. The silence stretches, heavy and suffocating. Both boys stand frozen, gasping for air. Finally, Rian breaks it, his voice low and strained. I lost. Then the dam bursts. He grips his hair, screaming in rage and despair. I lost. I lost again. The fire in his eyes fades, leaving only defeat. He looks straight at Shironi. You won. I lost. So even if you kill me, I have nothing left to say. Shironi just stares, dumbfounded. A hysterical laugh escapes him, almost disbelieving. Are you serious? Rian blinks in shock. What? Shironi snaps back. If I killed you, young master, do you think I'd live to see tomorrow? Rian protests. But we fought with our lives on the line. That was your bet. Shironi cuts him off. His voice shakes with fury. I was only trying to survive. This duel was nonsense from the start. Why blame me, when you were the one running from training? Rian yells back. Because you were being petty. Shironi explodes, voice raw with exasperation. Petty? You put me in an impossible position. Do you even realize? A truly honorable noble would never force something like this on a servant. Rian freezes, stunned by the truth behind his words. In his mind, he had thought himself noble, challenging a coward in fair combat. But to Shironi, it had been something entirely different, a servant staring down a merciless noble ready to kill him. Is that so? Rian mutters, shaken. The tension finally snaps. Shironi collapses onto the dirt, utterly drained. His voice breaks as he cries out. I really thought I was going to die. Rian stares, bewildered. What is this? Aren't people supposed to compliment each other after a duel? Shironi wipes at his tears, relief flooding him. The cold, unyielding warrior from moments ago is gone, replaced by someone just grateful to be alive. Rian studies him silently. He's a genius, I'm sure of it, but unlike Rian, he never laughed at me. He faced me with everything he had. He steps closer. Hey! What's your name? Still catching his breath, Shironi answers. Aaron Shironi. Rian nods, straightening up. I'm Ojent Rian. Shironi blinks in confusion. Why is he saying his full name? Before he can react, Rian grabs his hand, his expression earnest, almost hopeful. Let's be friends. How about it? The scene shifts. Seasons pass, and autumn leaves scatter across the courtyard of the great library. Teen, the head butler, watches as servants carry stacks of books, his sharp eyes noting the progress. So, you've already classified over 7,000 volumes. For once, there's approval in his voice. Shironi bows his head slightly. Thank you. It has been a full year since he began working here. With fewer books remaining, his pace has only increased. Of the 800 he set out to catalogue, only 200 remain. Soon, he'll complete the core of knowledge he's been chasing all this time. But Shironi reflects that the greatest change didn't come from the books. That life-or-death duel had taught him the meaning of fear, and in turn, had strengthened the resilience of his spirit zone. He knows he'll reach his goals eventually. Yet above all else, he gained something even more important. In the end, Shironi gained something priceless, a good friend. Rian sits sprawled in the library, wide-eyed at the sheer mountain of books. For Shironi, though, that friendship shines brighter than any knowledge he's collected. Rian tilts his head. So, does your family actually use all this? Shironi nods. My father and second brother come often. Rian scoffs, crossing his arms. Must be nice, being smart. But the more time Shironi spends with him, the clearer it becomes. Behind Rian's towering frame and fiery temper, he's surprisingly affectionate. Rian lounges lazily in a chair, gesturing as if the whole library belonged to him. As expected of the youngest, here? So many books left for me to read. Shironi can't help but chuckle. He really does act like the youngest child. Still, he nervously hands Rian a book. Please, don't damage this. I'll be the one who dies if something happens to it. Rian bursts out laughing. Don't worry. How could a book matter more than a person's life? Even if you burned this entire library down, I'd protect you. Shironi rubs his temples with a sigh. Honestly, Rian would be far less dangerous if he did absolutely nothing at all. He finally asks, why are you even here instead of training? Rian shrugs. I finished the basics. Thought I'd study a little. Shironi immediately grabs his hand and yanks him up. Then hurry up and study. Rian throws a full tantrum right there in the library. I'm bored. I'm bored. But Shironi knows, Rian isn't lazy. He's like fire. Once he ignites, nothing can hold him back. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, they're both sitting at a desk, books spread out. If you came to study, then study, Shironi snaps. Rian fidgets, then asks, do you really have to read this many books just to be a magician? Of course, Shironi replies with pride. I've already finished 600 history books. At this point, I know most of it. He flips through a thick volume at incredible speed, pages turning like the wind. Rian stares, jaw dropping. Really? How can you even read that fast? Watching him, Rian feels a pang. Same age, yet Shironi seems so much more mature. Trying to save face, he clears his throat and mutters. This book's quite fun. Shironi pauses, intrigued. The preface poses a classic question. If a swordsman and a magician fought, who would win? The author claims to have searched the world for the answer, even discovering carnivorous trees that devour birds. Rian slams the book shut. What a boring book. Shironi jumps. What? I was enjoying that. Enjoying what? There aren't even any pictures. And not a single word about swordsmanship. Rian protests. Sighing, Shironi asks. Then what's your answer? Rian tilts his head. I dunno. Wouldn't both of them have to be insane to even fight like that? Before Shironi can respond, a cool, confident voice cuts in. Obviously, the swordsman wins. A tall figure with long hair steps up behind them. His presence is so overwhelming, both boys instinctively look up, only to be smacked silent by his aura. Shironi immediately bows. Welcome, young master. Rian, on the other hand, just stares. What? How do you know that, big bro? The newcomer, Rian, casually picks up the book. Rian's blood runs cold. Don't tell me, our earlier conversation. He didn't hear it, did he? But one glance at their nervous faces says everything. Rian flips the book open, expression unreadable. Shironi knows the truth. If a mere steward spoke this bluntly to a noble's child, punishment wouldn't stop at just flogging. Yet here Rian is, toying with them. Rian tries to play it cool, forcing a smirk. And how are you so sure? You taking the swordsman's side just cause you're one yourself? Rian only smirks back, dismissive. You can tell just by looking at the standings of swordsmen and magicians across the continent. Rian bristles. We're talking about a fight. What do standings have to do with anything? But Rian doesn't even acknowledge him. His gaze fixes on Shironi instead. You. Over there. Rian's face twists in anger. Are you ignoring me? Rian continues as though he never spoke. What do you think? Shironi freezes, completely caught off guard. Here? Rian watches carefully. His brother's intentions are always difficult to read, and this is no exception. Rian's calculating eyes stay locked on Shironi, waiting. Shironi weighs his words cautiously. If they're equal in skill, it would be difficult for a swordsman to win once the magician enters their spirit zone. But if the swordsman used his physical advantages to attack before the spell was cast. No, Rian cuts him off coldly. A cruel smile spreads across his face, sharp and condescending. The magician loses. Shironi's eyes go wide, his entire body stiffening. What Rian just said, it goes against everything he's learned, everything he's believed. Rian looks at his brother, realization dawning. So that's it. This is who Rian Ogent is. Whenever he finds someone he dislikes, he doesn't just oppose them, he takes pleasure in crushing the very foundation of what they care about. Rian's grin deepens, predatory. It seems you enjoy history, don't you? Then you must have heard of the armor set of the 5 gods. He leans in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper, words that strike like a dagger. The artifact that disrupts a mage spirit zone. Anti-magic. The air itself seems to freeze. The words hang heavy, unraveling Shironi's entire worldview. A mage spirit zone is their greatest weapon, a natural extension of themselves. Within it, they sense everything, command the flow of mana, bend the battlefield to their will. To face a mage in that state is like fighting a shark in the open sea. You're helpless, trapped in their domain. But Rian's voice cuts through that certainty. Now imagine something that poisons the water itself. A whirlpool so violent it severs the shark from its senses, leaving it blind and thrashing. He straightens, his eyes gleaming. That is the power of the 5 gods artifact. Anti-magic. Once activated, it nullifies the spirit zone completely, leaving any mage inside blind, powerless. His smirk twists darker. So tell me, if a swordsman wears that armor, what chance does a mage have? For a moment, silence reigns. The weight of his words suffocates the room. Finally, Rian adds with a casual shrug. Of course, it's mostly a theory. Antimagic is rare, its power drawn from the mana of a dragon's heart. Its waves are unstable. Simply investing. Rian's tone grows sharper, his words like blades. Throwing more money at it won't help. Even the best craftsman can only recreate about 65% of the original armor's power. That's why its cost is astronomical, each piece worth more than an entire kingdom's yearly budget. Rian seethes, slamming his hand down. Then what's the point? If no one can afford it, how does that make swordsmen stronger? Rian's smile twists into something darker, his eyes glinting with cruel delight. The real problem isn't the price, his voice lowers, filled with venom. It's who created anti-magic in the first place. Mags. Shironi freezes, his mind reeling. What? Rian scoffs at his disbelief. Why would they do it? For money, of course. There's endless demand. Mags are lining up to sell out their own kind for profit. His gaze sharpens, boring into Shironi like a predator. Do you understand now? Mags are pathetic, a class of cowards selling their own weakness for coin. Rian frowns, ready to object to the harsh words, but before he can, Shironi speaks. A calm smile rests on his face, steady and unwavering. That is what a mage is. Both brothers stop cold, stunned by the answer. Rian's voice snaps like a whip. What do you mean by that? Shironi nods calmly. Yes, mags created anti-magic. But not to betray their kind. It was designed to restrict magic in forbidden zones, or as a tool for training in academies. It was a gift of intelligence, offered freely for the good of the world. His voice firms, resolute. And because of that, it's meaningless to claim that swordsmen are greater than mags based on that alone. Rian lets out a low, strangled sound of frustration, his composure slipping. His glare sharpens, teeth grinding with fury. Rian, meanwhile, studies Shironi with new respect, a thoughtful look flashing across his face. Finally, Rian snaps. Ideals and reality are two different things. With a furious shout, he storms out, the door slamming behind him with a thunderous crack. A mage cannot defeat a swordsman. The room falls silent. Rian exhales loudly, relief pouring out of him. Shironi lets out a shaky laugh. I thought I was going to die. Rian bursts into roaring laughter, throwing a heavy arm around his friend. You were amazing. I've never seen my brother so humiliated. If your tongue were a sword, you'd be the greatest swordsman alive. Shironi grins, warmth flooding through him, a mixture of pride and pure relief. That felt refreshing. Inwardly, he reflects. Perhaps Rian was right. Ideals and reality often don't align. But the drive to challenge even one's own weaknesses, to never stop exploring, that is the essence of a mage. And I will never give up on that ideal. Snow begins to fall, soft and silent, dusting the proud crest of the Ogent family. 6 months later. Inside the manor, a deputy butler carefully finishes writing a report on the library's relocation. He carries the completed document to the head butler, Temuran. Temuran sips his tea calmly, his eyes flicking across the papers. He notes, with faint approval, that the entire process finished much earlier than expected. Temuran lowers the report, his tone clipped. Earlier than expected. The deputy nods eagerly, relieved. Yes, sir. At last, the books neglected for 20 years have been fully sorted. Then, hesitating, he ventures. With such talent, wouldn't it be a waste to let him go? Perhaps we could find a way to extend Shironi's contract. Enough. Temuran's voice cuts like a knife. Do not speak nonsense. Return to your duties. The deputy bows quickly. Yes, sir. As he leaves, Temuran sips his tea in silence. But his eyes remain sharp, calculating. Shironarian, he murmurs to himself. Meanwhile, in the now nearly empty library, Shironi sits at his desk with one final book in his hands. Turning a single page is nothing. But turning the last page, after hundreds upon hundreds, it's a moment unlike any other. He closes the volume, a quiet smile spreading across his face. The monumental task is complete. It almost feels like a dream. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Shironi! Rian charges in, breathless, his face flushed with panic. I heard the work is finished. You haven't left yet, have you? His eyes dart to the bare shelves, then back to his friend. His voice trembles with disbelief. Did you really complete it? Shironi smiles, pride glowing in his expression. Yeah. There's nothing left to read here anymore. Rian grabs him by the shoulders, shaking him with excitement, laughter booming out of him. Really? You're incredible. You actually did it. He beams, pure joy lighting up his face. Congratulations. That's amazing. Shironi smiles softly at his friend's excitement. Rin, before I go, could I come visit your house? Rian freezes. His jaw drops, eyes widening in shock. What? Really? Shironi tilts his head, puzzled. Is it that surprising? Rian turns his head away, suddenly flustered. His voice lowers, almost shy. I was always a little sad you kept our friendship so secret. So if you're saying this now, it really means a lot. Shironi stammers, cheeks warming. Ah, really? Well, I regretted that too. His smile is warm, genuine. He thinks back, how the library had always been their meeting place, filled with servants rushing about. Never once had they shared private time as true friends. Rian's face lights up like fire. All right then, let's go, he shouts, giving a big thumbs up. My whole family's out today. Shironi blinks, startled by the sudden burst of energy. All right now. Bundled against the winter snow, Shironi soon finds himself standing before the Ogent mansion. His breath catches. He stops dead in his tracks, staring up at the massive estate looming before him. Now that he's truly here, the scale is overwhelming. Terrifying, even. He swallows nervously. Are you sure we can just walk in? Rian only grins. Relax. They won't be back until late afternoon. Inside, the mansion swallows him whole. The air is vast and still, broken only by the presence of quiet staff. Shironi's eyes roam upward, landing on a towering doorway. He realizes a single room here could swallow his entire home. The thought leaves him reeling. So this is Rian's world. He really is the young master of a great house, no matter how little he acts like it. Rian throws open a door with a flourish. Here we are. This is my room. Shironi steps inside, and what he sees leaves him. Shironi's mouth drops open. Rian has led him to the smallest room at the very end of the corridor. It hardly even feels like a bedroom, it's more like a training barracks. Sparse, plain, and stripped of comfort. Rian just grins proudly. Welcome to my room. Shironi glances around. Practice swords lean against the wall, and there's barely a scrap of furniture in sight. This is where the son of a great noble house lives? The only personal touch is a lone unopened letter resting on the desk by the window. For a moment, Rian's eyes land on it, and something painful flickers across his face. The silence that follows feels too heavy. To break it, Shironi suddenly hums a tune. Rian flinches at the sound, embarrassed. Later, the two of them are sitting cross-legged on the floor, playing cards. Rian slams his hand down in frustration. I'm done. I lost again. Shironi chuckles. Come on. One more round. Rian points at him accusingly. You're cheating with that spirit zone of yours, aren't you? Shironi scoffs. What? Who do you think I am? He leans forward, explaining calmly. You move your ace to the outside when you've got one. Your betting pace changes when your hand is strong. Rian stares, dumbfounded. What? How could you possibly notice all that? Shironi shrugs. Sometimes the best observation isn't about staring at one detail, it's about seeing the whole picture. Rian grabs his head, trying to process it. Not focusing on the small things, but the whole picture, his eyes suddenly widen with excitement. Wait! Could this help me awaken schema? Shironi smiles faintly. It might. That way of thinking is what helped me enter the spirit zone. Rian groans, torn between comprehension and complete confusion. As Shironi stands to leave, Rian mutters quietly to himself, almost shy. This is fun. Shironi glances around and notices a book on a shelf. He asks if he can borrow it, explaining that he's grown tired of reading only history. But before Rian can answer, he's already passed out on the table, utterly drained from their talk. Shironi sighs. My goodness. He picks up the book and heads for the door, but then freezes. A sound drifts through the mansion. A faint, beautiful melody, soft and delicate, the sound of a piano. There's only one person in the Ogent household who plays. Rian's sister. Shironi follows the notes to a room where a graceful woman with flowing blue hair sits at the keys, her fingers dancing effortlessly. The melody fades, and she turns with a smile as elegant as her music. How was it? My piano sonata? Shironi's heart leaps into his throat. He's been caught. He tries to retreat quietly, but it's too late. He stammers, blurting out a clumsy compliment, his mind racing for an escape. Her smile softens. It's my first time seeing you here. Are you a new hire? Shironi quickly explains. I was tasked with cataloging the library. I've been here for about a year. Her eyes sparkle with recognition. Ah, so you're that boy. I've heard you're smart. Then, tilting her head with interest, she asks. Have you ever played the piano before? A prickle of unease runs down Shironi's spine. He cannot let his guard. He senses it immediately, she's no amateur. The way she plays follows a clear system, precise and deliberate. But when asked, he quickly insists he doesn't know how to play, Rian's warning still fresh in his head. The one with the most dangerous personality in this mansion was his sister. With a graceful smile, she pats the empty spot on the bench beside her. Then I'll teach you. Come, sit here. Shironi freezes. A commoner, sitting at the family's prized piano? The thought alone is enough to rattle him. Yet Raina's smile is too gentle, too sweet, though beneath it lies authority he cannot ignore. It's fine, she assures softly, her words carrying the weight of command. He swallows hard. Refusing the daughter of the house isn't an option. Reluctantly, he takes the seat. The polished wood feels alien beneath him as Raina begins her lesson. Her tone is calm, steady, in sharp contrast to the knot twisting in his stomach. She guides his hand over the keys, instructing him to press down 3 at once. A soft, warm chord echoes through the room. The sound vibrates up his arms, and for a moment he closes his eyes. It feels good. Logical, even. His mind instantly starts analyzing the pattern. Raina seems satisfied. Not bad. A good start. But curiosity gets the better of Shironi. Nervously, he asks if he can try playing the piece she just performed. Raina's eyebrows lift, but after a beat, she nods. She smiles, thinking it won't sound good. No one gets it right the first time. Still, her thoughts circle. Does he know more than he's admitting? Shironi sets his hands on the keys. His posture changes, focused, intent. He breathes in, then begins. Notes spill out under his fingers, and Raina's smile instantly collapses. Her eyes go wide, her hand flying to cover her mouth. Every single note is wrong. Completely wrong. The melody itself is a wreck. But something about it chills her. Despite the disaster, Shironi doesn't falter. His hands move with unshakable rhythm, flawless timing, as though he's following a hidden script. And then it dawns on her, he isn't randomly wrong. He's perfectly wrong. Every mistake mirrors her piece with uncanny precision. Her heart skips. The tempo, the rhythm, the flow, it's all identical to hers. That's when his eyes ignite with a glowing blue light. He's entered the spirit zone. He's not playing music, he's reading her. Stripping her performance down to its core and rebuilding it note by note. In his mind, the world fractures into streams of raw data. He sees the current of her energy, the movement of her fingers, and replicates it with terrifying exactness. The final chord crashes, and silence follows. The room is swallowed in stunned silence. What was that? Raina breathes, her voice barely audible. Her heart hammers as she stares at him. That wasn't a performance, he had reached into the very soul of her music. Shironi snaps out of it, heat rushing to his cheeks. I'm sorry, I just... But she doesn't even hear the words. Her thoughts spin. Why does this boy, a butler, carry himself with the quiet confidence of a noble? Before the tension can stretch further, a sharp voice cuts through the air. Stop making so much noise, you damn witch gremlin. Rian's voice echoes from the stairs as he stomps into view. You're home, take a break. Why are you screaming like a maniac? He strides into the room, but halts as his gaze lands on Shironi, seated right beside his sister. Here? Shironi? What are you doing here? Shironi's heart skips a beat. His mind goes blank. Well, the thing is. Rian looks between the two of them, baffled. Wait, you two know each other? Panic surges through Shironi. If their friendship is exposed, he's finished. A servant, close to the young lord? In a noble household, that's a crime. His lips part, his heart pounding. And no. But before the dread can crush him, Rian blurts it out. He's my friend. Shironi freezes. His eyes widen in disbelief. What are you saying, Rian? Rian just grins, brushing it off. Relax. My sister may be a total menace, but she doesn't care about this sort of thing. Shironi can't process it. A noble not caring about something so dangerous? His world feels like it's tilting. Reina finally speaks, her voice calm but unreadable. So your name is? Shironi. She lays a hand on his shoulder, her smile gentle. Don't worry. If Rian calls you a friend, that's enough for me. He may be pathetic, but he stands by what he says. Her eyes return to Shironi, curiosity burning beneath her composure. So tell me, what were you thinking while you were playing? I really want to know. Rian blinks, startled. Wait, that was Shironi? I thought you were just being hysterical. Shironi feels the foundation of everything he thought he understood about nobles start to crack. Rian's sister, she doesn't mind? Still dazed, he turns to Rian. But Rian, why would you lie? Your sister's a kind, gentle lady. Rian recoils, his face twisting in horror. What? Don't let her trick you, he hisses. She's a witch. Who knows when she'll try to swallow you whole? Reina sighs, shaking her head. She pats Shironi's shoulder with the easy warmth of an older sister. Sorry. My little brother is so childish. I'm glad he has a friend like you. Please, look after him. Shironi flushes and waves his hands. No, it's me who owes him. Rian smirks, throwing an arm around Shironi's shoulders. Then why don't you just keep him? He's cute enough. Let's make him family. Reina arches a brow, her lips curving into a sly smile. Oh? So close that you'd even give your big sister away? Rian jerks back, offended. What are you talking about? You're not the prize here, Shironi is. Rian suddenly grabs Reina by the collar. You think you're so great just because I let things slide? With a grunt, he hurls her across the room. She crashes to the floor with a cry, while Shironi can only stare, stunned and confused. Reina slowly rises, brushing herself off as though nothing happened. Why did you even come home? She asks coolly. Rian scoffs. Didn't you hear? Rian's taking his certification test. I came to pick him up. Her expression hardens instantly. What? That's insane. Shironi catches the shift in her face, then glances at Rian. The gap between the siblings feels like an impossible divide. The certification license, every mage and swordsman dreams of it. Recognized across the continent, it stands as the ultimate symbol of strength. Each year, over 1,000 contenders step forward, yet only a few dozen pass. For those without such brilliance, there's a slower path, the non-certified license. By graduating from a kingdom-approved academy, one can begin at the lowest rank, gradually climbing higher. But the law of honor, wealth, and prestige draws countless challengers, year after year, into the fires of the certification test. And Rian, the prodigy of the Ogent family, is about to take that very exam, at just 18 years old. Rian lowers his gaze, a crooked smile tugging at his lips. Wow, geniuses really do live in another world. They get the family's full support without question. Reina reaches out, ruffling his hair softly. It's fine. I'll go prepare dinner. She adds with a small smile, we just received a royal seafood delivery. Her eyes shift to Shironi, warm and glimmering. It was nice meeting you, Shironi. Let's meet again. Shironi bows slightly. Yes. Have a good evening. He watches her leave, and a strange thought lingers in his chest. Tomorrow, he's supposed to go for good. Will he ever see her again? Because for that brief moment at the piano, he felt something unusual, something he can't quite name. The thought slips from his mouth before he can stop it. Rian, your sister. Rian blinks, confused. Hey! Shironi hesitates, then blurts out. Does she have a boyfriend? Rian's face goes utterly blank. Then, slowly, a wicked grin creeps across his lips. Shironi instantly regrets it. Forget it. Never mind. I didn't mean anything. But Rian's aura has already turned dangerous. I said forget it. Shironi pleads, backing away. Rian lunges, fury blazing in his eyes. Shironi scrambles in panic, but Rian's already at the doorway, shouting with all the force in his lungs. Sis! Shironi wants to know. He leans out into the hall, bellowing loud enough for the whole mansion to hear. If you have a boyfriend. Rian! Shironi tackles him from behind, desperately clamping a hand over his mouth. Maids in the hall freeze, their jaws dropping as they stare. Wrestling him back into the room, Shironi's mind is spinning with horror. But Reina only laughs, waving off the stunned servants. They are just kids, she says lightly. They're just playing around, Reina calls, waving off the stunned maids. But from the balcony, Timen, the head butler, has watched everything. He approaches another servant. Hannes, did the youngest master have a guest today? Hannes frowns, thinking. Nothing pre-scheduled, head butler. They both glance down at the still wrestling boys. Hannes studies the pair a moment longer. Shironi, he finally says. He said the name was Shironi. Timen's eyes narrow. Recognition flickers across Hannes's face. I remember now. A moment later, elsewhere in the mansion, the lord of the Ogent family slams his fist on the desk. Tellen, come to my office, he orders. The scene cuts to a snowy training ground beyond the mountains. Wind slices across the open expanse as weapons cleave the air. Rian stands panting while his instructor calls for a 10-minute break. The instructor watches, noting Rian's intensity and the risk ahead. Either the pressure will break him or it will make him stronger. The real issue lies in schema, the power Rian has yet to awaken. A servant bursts through the snow, breathless. Young master, Lady Reina requests your return to the mansion at once. Rian keeps his back turned. If it's about my brother, I'm not coming back. It's not that, the servant says. Temporary butler Shironi is in danger. He may die. The words cut through the cold. Rian drops his water. He had planned to go home today. The servant explains that the head butler reported something to the lord because of Shironi's association with Rian. Rian turns to his instructor. Teacher, I must see my father. Shironi is my friend. If I speak to him, he'll be pardoned. I'll finish training later. The instructor steps in front of him, firm. No. You cannot go. Rian looks to the instructor, searching for a way past, but the teacher's stance does not change. One hand rests on the hilt of his sword. Back in the Ogent Great Hall, Shironi kneels on the marble floor. His name reverberates through the chamber. Shironi Arian. The lord of the Ogent family looks down from his seat of authority and gives a single order. You will be executed. The words land like a verdict. The judgment is final, beyond appeal. The hall itself feels like a portrait of absolute authority, the family seated high above, staff standing rigid like stone statues, and in the center, one boy kneeling alone. Shironi's thoughts whirl. How did it come to this? The maids murmur among themselves, their whispers sharp with disdain. How dare a commoner get close to a noble? Such a scandal is unthinkable. Even T-Man, the old head butler, shakes his head. Ignorance is no excuse. Shironi should have understood the most basic rules of their world. Above, the family watches. Rian's eyes are detached, cold. Their father sits in unshakable authority. And Reina, her eyes are closed, her face shadowed with quiet pain. Then, she rises. Father, wait. I have something to say. But the Lord doesn't spare her a glance. What more is there to say? He raises a document, the report from the head butler, and taps it with his finger. His voice thunders through the vast chamber. This record contains testimony from many of our staff. All of them claim that boy treated Rian with reckless disregard. His gaze falls like ice on Shironi. You signed the contract. Do you have any complaints left to make? Anything to say for yourself? Silence hangs in the hall. Then Shironi slowly lifts his head. No. But I have one question. His voice is steady, deliberate. If I am friends with the young master, what will happen to him? Gasps ripple through the servants. Is he insane? One whispers. He should be begging for his life, not worrying about the young master. Even Raina and Rian are struck speechless. At this moment, he's thinking about Rian? Lord Ogent stares, momentarily surprised. You dare ask me that? His smirk twists cruel. As foolish as any commoner. Do you truly think something will happen to a noble just for keeping company with the likes of you? Shironi exhales faintly. Relief flickers in his chest. That's all he needed to know. He looks up again, no fear in his eyes, only calm certainty. It's true. Rian and I are friends. We've been friends for a year. His voice rises, clear and resolute. And we always will be. The butlers gape, their disbelief echoing through the hall. Lord Ogent's gaze hardens to pure rage. Why do you not tremble? Why do you not beg? He snarls. So, you dare make light of the Ogent name. He turns, barking out the order. Head butler, deal with him swiftly. And ensure not a word escapes these walls. Guards close in. Raina shouts for her father to stop, but he silences her with iron resolve. He confessed. My choice is made. As family head, my decision is law. Shironi is seized. As they drag him away, some butlers exchange uneasy glances. Still, one mutters with cold finality, the house must be preserved, even at the cost of erasing a single boy. One of the guards, voice low, leans toward Shironi as they lead him out. This may feel cruel now, but someday you'll be thankful. The grand doors slam open. A figure storms in, breath loud in the hall. I won't let that happen, Rian declares. Raina turns. Shironi looks up, a small hint of relief passing his features. Rian steps forward to the throne and shouts, loud enough to fill the room. Who dares to kill one of my friends without my permission? From the top of the stairs, the Lord answers with one word. Me. Rian points at his father. Why? He didn't commit a great crime, he only became my friend. The Lord's voice is controlled. One does not need to commit a grand sin to deserve death. Nobility carries burdens you cannot imagine. You enjoy privileges because our house manages those burdens. Rian fires back. Those privileges mean nothing if you demand my friend be removed for them. The Lord's response is calm and blunt. You ask why he must die? Because friendship with a noble implies equality. He gestures at Shironi. Do you really think a commoner like him sees you as equals? There are always people who leech onto nobles. Rian counters with conviction. Shironi would never do that. The Lord narrows his stance. How am I to trust you? Prove this friendship. Silence spreads through the hall. Raina watches without comment. Proving something so private seems impossible. Rian's mind races, his father's demand feels like a trap. Then a memory flashes, their duel, Shironi's strange blue gaze, how he seemed to absorb everything. The card game advice returns too, don't focus on small details, see the opponent as a whole. Shironi's words repeat in Rian's head, see their true intentions. It all snaps into place. He isn't facing only his father, he's up against the head of the Ogent house, a man of warrior lineage and a grade 4 certified knight. This isn't an argument. It's a challenge that can only be answered by steel. 30 minutes earlier, the training ground. Teacher, no. My friend could die, Rian had pleaded. The instructor had been blunt. Yes. The boy in the library. But he is a commoner. Rian had recoiled, stunned by the harsh logic. You told me once, he remembered, that if you can cross swords with someone, then. The memory fuels him now. He tightens his grip on the hilt at his side, every thought aligning to a single resolve. This will be settled by a duel. Then anyone can be your friend. The instructor's tone is firm. Rian, do you not understand what matters most to a noble? They cut away anything that threatens the family. Have you even thought about the weight your friend must carry, because you so carelessly claimed him as one? Rian's chest tightens. A single tear slips down his cheek. Don't fool yourself into thinking this can be solved with words alone, the instructor warns. Rian clenches his fist, his eyes blazing. But I can't just stand here and do nothing. I was the one who asked him to be my friend. If I abandon him now, I'll be nothing but a coward. The instructor studies him. Beneath the fire, he sees sincerity. Passion and honesty, rare qualities. But he knows well that passion alone cannot shape a true swordsman. Still, he feels hope stir. He allows a faint smile. I'll cheer you on. With that, he extends his own sword. Take this. If you accept it, you may go. But if you can't even hold this with resolve, then don't take a single step. Rian grips the weapon with reverence, his voice steady. Teacher, I'll never forget this. The instructor offers his final words. Remember, throwing away a friend is like throwing away part of yourself. This fight, it will be with your life on the line. Back in the present, Rian bursts into laughter that echoes through the hall. As expected of you, father. I almost gave in. His voice steadies, filled with clarity. You want proof? I am proof. The fact that I live as Shironi's friend, that alone is enough. The Lord snarls, teeth grinding. Ridiculous. This isn't some childish spat. The very prestige of our house is at stake. If I must, I'll cast out even my own son. Father! Reina gasps. But Rian steps forward, resolve unshaken. If that's what it takes to protect my friend, then I'll leave with no regrets. He offers the sword hilt first, as if surrendering his title, his privilege, his entire life, for one boy. The Lord's fury erupts. You insolent child, raise your blade. If he truly is your friend, then prove it by putting your life on the line. Rian's hand tightens on the hilt, the steel thrumming with energy. You would dare raise your sword against your own father? Lord Ogent demands, his voice trembling with wrath. Rian lifts the blade upright in a knight's salute. This sword is not aimed at you, father. It is my declaration of faith. The Lord scoffs. You speak of friends? You couldn't even get along with nobles your own age. Perhaps you cling to this boy because he's beneath you, just so you can feel superior. But Rian's answer is steady, unwavering. No, father. You're wrong. Shironi is better than me. I only want to help him reach a place higher than I ever could. The Lord's fury redirects toward Shironi. Did you deceive him? Did you trick him into believing a noble and a commoner could stand as equals? Rian immediately steps in front of Shironi, his voice sharp. No. He didn't. Shironi, don't move. I'll protect you. But then, a hand rests gently on Rian's shoulder. Rian. Shironi's voice is calm, yet charged with power as a blue aura ignites around him. His gaze is soft, but resolute. You don't need to bear everything. I will take responsibility, for myself. Shironi places his hand over Rian's. I always knew this day might come, when I'd have to choose between my life and my friend. He smiles, a warm, genuine smile that shines even in the shadow of death. Even if I die here, I'll never regret being your friend. Rian can't hold back anymore. A single tear escapes, then the flood bursts. His voice cracks as he cries out. That's exactly what I'm saying. Even if they cast me out, we'll still be friends. The raw emotion of two boys, willing to give up everything for each other, hangs heavy in the great hall. Even the stern Lord Ogent falters, momentarily struck speechless. Reina watches, a sad but knowing smile tugging at her lips. Immature or not, they are still human. And this is what true friendship looks like. The sentiment ripples through the room. Hardened butlers shift uncomfortably, some with tears forming in their eyes. Everyone there either remembers a friend like that, or longs for one. Only T-Man, the head butler, clicks his tongue in irritation. Yet even he cannot fully mask the faint crack in his composure. Suddenly, booming laughter erupts from the entrance. Ha! This is fantastic! The sound shakes the hall. Raina and Rian whip their heads around, stunned. Grandfather! An old man, broad-shouldered and full of presence, lounges casually on the family sofa, grinning ear to ear. I never thought I'd witness such a spectacle at my age, he chuckles. Youth truly is a wonderful thing. Relief washes over Raina. If grandfather is here, things will be all right. Lord Ojin's expression hardens with annoyance. You've arrived sooner than expected. Raina told me you'd come in a few days. The old man waves a hand dismissively. I came early. My old friend ran off with a young maiden, and I wanted to see how that played out. Shironi stares at him, realization dawning. This isn't just anyone. This is that man, Thormia's general, a grade 3 swordsman, a rank even above Rian's father. This is Clumph Ogent, the family's true pillar, and the former head of the house. Clumph stretches comfortably, his very presence dominating the hall. As noisy as ever, I see. But it's fine. Youth should be loud and reckless. Lord Ogent grits his teeth. This is no good thing. Our family's reputation has been disgraced. Clumph only smiles, brushing the words aside. Let's not rush to judgment. I've been observing from behind the scenes, and it's clear everyone here has something worth saying. His eyes gleam with mischief. So why don't we put it to a hearing? Let's ask everyone whether we've truly lost face or not. He turns toward his granddaughter. Witness 1. The eldest daughter, Raina Ogent. Raina rises, composed and steady. Although I only met Shironi yesterday, I've seen enough to know he's both intelligent and capable. He finished his contract early, and I found no sign of malice in his approach to Rian. Therefore, I cannot believe his actions have stained the family's honor. Clumph strokes his chin thoughtfully. I see. Then let us hear from witness 2. My second grandson, Rian Ogent. Rian exhales sharply, irritation clear as he steps forward. Rian lets out a long sigh. I don't like that kid, he says flatly. Lord Ogent smirks. That's it. I knew I could count on you, Rian. But Rian isn't done. His lips curl into a malicious grin. However, this has nothing to do with me. Lord Ogent's smile vanishes. What? Rian folds his arms, dripping arrogance. Exactly what I said. I don't like the boy, but whoever Rian chooses to befriend is none of my concern. I only want this settled quickly so we can move on to the royal palace. Raina has to bite back laughter. His words are selfish, yes, but unexpectedly, they tip the scales in Shironi's favor. Clumph chuckles warmly. Ha! This is why there's no place like home. Then his expression sharpens, authority radiating from him. To conclude, let's hear from the one who has observed this boy the longest. Witness 3, the deputy butler, T-Man. The old butler steps forward, stoic as ever. His superior shoots him a warning glare. Lord Ogent leans forward, voice cold. Remember your place. Servants don't speak opinions. They follow orders. T-Man inhales deeply and begins. Shironi carried out every task I assigned him perfectly. He completed his contract 6 months early. His testimony is plain, direct, but powerful. Lord Ogent bristles with fury. He leans toward Clumph and mutters. What is he doing? Did you know they were friends? But T-Man continues, addressing the matter without hesitation. I knew he spent time around the young master, but I did not know they were friends. He pauses, then delivers the final blow. But in my judgment, no child lacking sincerity could have sorted 10,000 books. Shironi meets the old butler's eyes, gratitude welling within him. Deputy butler, he whispers. Raina hides a smile. Nice. The mood has completely shifted. And she's right. The entire hall feels different now. Only Lord Ogent remains set on punishment. He coughs harshly, ready to interject, when Clumpher's voice booms. No. The single word crushes the atmosphere. Clumpher's jovial warmth is gone. What remains is the steel presence of a general. I cannot allow this. Both Raina and her father stare at him in shock. Clumph explains calmly, voice heavy with reason. I understand they see each other as friends. But it ends here. If this continues, rumors will spread. And those whispers will become weapons in the hands of our enemies. He rises, his shadow stretching across the floor. Our family holds positions of power. Rian's certification looms ahead. And countless households depend on me to stand firm. For their sake, this must stop. His gaze falls on Shironi, softening slightly. Shironi, you're a clever child. I trust you'll understand. Raina's heart twists. His logic is flawless, and that makes it hurt even more. Then she notices it, Rian trembling, his body radiating uncontrollable fury. Clumpher's eyes narrow. I see it, Rian. That splendid energy of yours. But how can you not understand? You, of all people, know the weight of the lives that rest on this family's shoulders. Finally, his gaze turns back to Shironi. What about you? Tell me, what have you taught my naive grandson? True friendship, Clump finishes. His voice hardens. But can you end it here? The question lingers like a blade hanging overhead. Shironi closes his eyes, silent for a breath. Then his answer comes, firm, unyielding. I cannot. Gasps ripple through the hall. Even Rian stares in disbelief. Shironi, he stammers. But Shironi presses on, his voice ringing with conviction. If I truly became a burden to Rian, then I wouldn't mind never seeing him again. He lifts his gaze, locking eyes with his friend. But no matter what, I cannot see him as anything less than my friend. That will never change. Rian's grip on the sword trembles. Shame burns in his chest. A part of me was just relieved he wouldn't die, he realizes, tears streaming. But Shironi already understood what he had not, that to abandon a friend is to abandon yourself. Rian raises his sword high. His decision is final. Then so be it. This was never up for negotiation. Don't! Raina screams, sensing what's about to happen. The blade slams into the marble floor. Blue energy explodes outward, shaking the hall in a blinding flash. Rian's voice roars above the shockwave. I, Rian Ogent, third son of the Ogent family, swear to become Shironi's sword. The words land like thunder. Lord Ogent's face contorts with pure rage. What? His voice breaks into a furious scream. You fool! The walls themselves seem to tremble with his fury. The vow Rian declared is no ordinary oath. It traces back to the very birth of Thormia itself. In an age of chaos, kingdoms fought endlessly over land. ATL, the mightiest of all, rose above them. But instead of purging the defeated kings, he allowed them to rule their own lands. From that choice was born the Knight's Oath. By pledging themselves as the sword of another, knights were raised to nobility. To break that vow was to fall lower than a wild dog. The oath was unbreakable, absolute. Rian lifts his head with a grin of defiance. Well, what do you think? I can't undo it now, can I? Then he kneels before Shironi, presenting the sword. Master! Looks like I caused quite the scene. Shironi rushes to him, clutching his arm in shock. Rin, what in the world are you doing? A calm voice cuts in. Rian. Clumpher's gaze bears down on him, unreadable. If you truly claim to be his sword, then that must mean this boy is qualified. Tell me, does he overflow with brilliance? Or does he shine only because you do not? The question slices deep, aimed directly at Rian's greatest insecurity. But Rian doesn't flinch. He straightens, his answer unwavering. A sword does not judge. A sword simply protects. The butlers exchange uneasy chuckles. Shironi can only stare in stunned silence. Then Clump throws his head back, roaring with laughter that fills the hall. That's it. That's exactly what it takes to reach the top. Ha! You brats, at least you're bold. He strides toward them, still grinning. You've got a sharp tongue, boy. But with swordsmanship as sloppy as yours, I almost pity your friend for ending up with a blade like you. Rian flushes, fumbling for words. Clump places a firm hand on Shironi's shoulder. That's enough. Everything's settled. He may not be the sharpest blade, but one thing's certain, Shironi will never turn against you. Take good care of my grandson. Shironi lowers his head, a genuine smile forming. Thank you, for trusting me. Clumph turns to the staff. They're sworn brothers now. Send for Shironi's parents. Tumaran bows. At once, sir. The other butlers glance at each other in disbelief. Is this really happening? I'll never understand nobles. Later, in a private room, Rian sprawls across a couch, laughing so hard the walls shake. Ah, that felt amazing. Did you see their faces? Priceless. Shironi sits beside him, uneasy. Rian, the knight's oath. You didn't have to go that far. Rian suddenly sits up, serious. Shironi, I didn't swear it just because you're my friend. A confident grin spreads across his face. I'm not like my brother. You have something, this pull, this power that makes people want to follow you. I simply chose to stake my life on you. Shironi turns bright red. What's with you saying things like that again? The pressure's insane. He pokes Rian in the side. If you want to protect me, you'll have to step it up. Rian collapses, tongue lolling out. Hey, what's wrong? Shironi asks. Rian mutters, nothing, you just poked the weak spot. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Yi storms in. Rian, is it true you swore a knight's oath to become Shironi's sword? Rian falls off the couch in shock. Raina frowns. What's with him? Get out. Rian snaps. Shironi quickly steps in. Don't say that. Your sister helped us so much. Please, come in. Raina smiles brightly. Exactly. And I brought news, straight from the opposing faction. Rian grumbles. What are father and grandfather scheming now? They are furious, Raina explains. You used the knight's oath. They're already planning their counter. She doesn't waste time. Father wants to enroll both of you in Kaizen Swordsmanship Academy. Her gaze sharpens on Shironi. You said you had extraordinary talent with the sword, didn't you? Shironi freezes. To that extent? Raina beams. Of course. Your family now. I told them about your talent, they're ready to invest in you. It's all for Rian's future. But Rian jumps up, shouting. Wait, who decided I'm going to school? I finally get to hang out with Shironi, and now this. You idiot! Raina yells, tackling him to the ground. After the chaos you caused, you still dare complain. Rian struggles, shouting back. And Shironi's not even going to a sword academy. He's already opened his spirit zone. He's a mage, not a swordsman. Raina freezes, eyes wide. What did you just say? Spirit zone? Shironi did. Her mind races, gears already turning. Raina's sharp mind works at lightning speed, then a slow grin curls across her face. Wait, so you swore a knight's oath to a future mage? Rian's face turns crimson. You! There's got to be a limit to how useless you can get, she teases. Rian finally explodes. Out! Get out right now, you hag! Unbothered, Raina folds her arms, piecing things together. So that's it, you used the sensitivity from your spirit zone. That's how you read Rian's moves and won. She taps her chin thoughtfully. Smart. Your zone density must be unusually high. Rian sulks deeper into the couch as Raina continues, eyes sparkling. Impressive, Shironi. The stronger your focus, the more solid a spirit zone becomes. And you managed it while holding a sword. Shironi only offers a shy smile. Raina and Rian exchange a look. In her head, she sighs. At this rate, he'll never get a date. Then, Raina's tone shifts, brisk and businesslike. I'll handle Grandpa about your career path, Shironi. But Rian, that means you'll still be enrolling in the Sword Academy. Rian bolts upright. What? What about my teacher? Her expression hardens. Teacher Kate already knows. He ended the contract yesterday. He'll say goodbye tomorrow. Rian freezes, clutching the training sword his teacher gave him. The weight of the news sinks in. His mind drifts to the image of his master walking away alone, framed by the vast mountains. Teacher, he whispers. Just then, a butler enters. Young Master Shironi's family has arrived, he says with a respectful smile. The family head requests you meet them first. Reina glances at Shironi, her tone softening. Well, Shironi? What would you like to do? His face lights up, pure joy bursting through. I'll go, he shouts without hesitation. He practically soars down the grand staircase, the butler scrambling to keep pace. Please, be careful, the stairs are steep, the butler calls. Shironi glances back with a gentle smile. You can speak to me normally. I haven't suddenly become a noble. The butlers panic, bowing in a frenzy. Goodness, young master, we couldn't possibly. Please don't say such things. Shironi leans in, whispering like it's a shared secret. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone. But the terrified staff only shake their heads. Even so, we cannot. At last, Shironi reaches the heavy reception doors, heart pounding. With trembling hands, he pushes them open. And there, standing awkwardly in the gilded room, completely out of place, worry etched on their faces, are his parents. Mom! Dad! Shironi cries, his voice cracking. Shironi! They shout back in unison, relief flooding them. He doesn't hesitate. He runs, leaps forward, and crashes into their arms. For the first time in over a year, Shironi is home. Wrapped in his parents' embrace, nothing else matters. Yet as he looks at them, his joy fades. Their faces are drawn, their bodies thinner. He thinks of the countless nights they must have lain awake, fearing their son might return only as a body in a coffin. But his parents quickly mask their exhaustion with forced cheer. Don't worry, we've been eating well, his mother insists. Yes, his father adds, voice firm. But why did you call us here? You should have come straight home. They're not keeping you against your will, are they? Shironi waves his hands. No, nothing like that. I've been given a good opportunity. His parents blink at him, baffled. Good opportunity? So he tells them everything. The duel. The unlikely friendship. The trial. The knight's oath. The words tumble out in a rush of impossible events. By the end, his parents just stare, speechless. Vincent, his father, looks like his brain is on the verge of shutting down. He tries to summarize. So, you became friends with a noble. He swore some kind of knight's oath. And, you got permission to remain friends. Shironi nods eagerly. Yes, exactly. That's the final straw for Vincent. He grabs his son by the shoulders and shakes him. Shironi, be honest. A smart boy like you can't actually believe this. Someone's treating you badly, aren't they? No. It's all true. Shironi insists. Oh heavens, his mother wails. They always said anyone who goes to a noble house comes back insane. She joins her husband in trying to shake the delusion out of him. The door creaks open. A butler bows deeply. Young master, the family head has arrived. And then, Lord Butler Ogent himself enters, flanked by Reina and Rian. With impeccable grace, Butler introduces himself. But Rian blurts out at the top of his lungs. Hello, father. I am Shironi's sword. And I, Reina adds smoothly, am the eldest daughter, Reina. It's a pleasure. I've heard so much about you. Vincent and Olina let out a high-pitched shriek of sheer terror. Moments later, they find themselves seated at a massive dining table, drowning in opulence. Vincent clears his throat, voice trembling. Hello, we are Shironi's parents. We don't understand why such great people would come here. Reina only smiles. Oh my! Didn't Shironi tell you? Vincent whirls on his wife, panicked. Pardon? He wasn't lying? Those delusions, they are real. Before they can process, an army of servants floods the hall, laying out a feast more extravagant than anything they've ever seen. Vincent stares blankly at the spread. Olina leans in, whispering. Dear, why are there so many forks? What is happening? Tea is poured, and after the lavish meal, they are escorted to a sitting room. The air is thick with tension. The Ogents sit proudly on one side. Shironi and his bewildered parents on the other. Vincent's hands tremble as he clutches his knees. Even if he doesn't understand what a knight's oath truly means, he's certain no noble family would ever show this kind of favor to a woodcutter's son. He swallows hard, gathering his courage. "Excuse me," he begins, voice unsteady. "I'm grateful you think so highly of my son. But I cannot believe a young master of a noble house would truly swear such an oath to Shironi. Forgive me, but I am deeply concerned." Lord Butler calmly lifts his teacup, takes a slow sip, and Lord Butler sets his teacup down with steady grace. "Yes, to be honest, it is somewhat unpleasant. But for a family built on militarism, a knight's oath is absolute. To dismiss it over status would only tarnish Rian's pride. From this moment on, we will address your son with proper honor. Do not feel uneasy, our family will fully support him." Rian elbows his father. "It's been a while since you've said something right." Shironi watches Butler closely, awe dawning in his eyes. To make such a calm, decisive choice for his household, this was truly a man of pride and conviction. Even when faced with the burden of taking in a commoner, he wavered for no one. Raina smirks knowingly at her father. Unshaken as always. Rian, grinning ear to ear, throws up a proud thumbs up. Butler doesn't waste time. "Your son is a spirit zone user. That is no small feat. It is not earned by hard labor, but gifted by true talent. I hear he wishes to become a mage. Then the path is clear, the Alphea's Magic Academy. One of the kingdom's 5 great institutions. For those of noble birth, it is not simply a school, it is the proper place to hone such power. Anything less would not match the standards of House Ogent." Clumph coughs into his fist. "You never do spare a thought for commoners, do you?" The words finally sink into Vincent. His lips tremble. If he graduates from a magic school, then our son will truly become a mage. The idea seems unreal, a dream that could never belong to them. "A mage," Vincent whispers, voice shaking. "This can't be real. Our son." Hope swells in his chest, only to shatter with Butler's next words. But the greatest problem lies in his identity. Magic academies accept nobles only. Commoners are barred from enrollment. Vincent's heart plummets. Just as he glimpsed the impossible, it is snatched away. Butler and Clumph exchange a solemn look. Then Clumph speaks, his tone heavy with finality. "There is one solution. We would like to take Shironi as an adopted son." The world tilts for Vincent. "What?" Butler elaborates, producing a parchment. "We will add him under the register of a distant cousin. His name, Shironi Ogent." He lays the document bare before them. "Understand this, we have no intent to steal your child. This is merely formality, ink on paper. Nothing more." Yet the meaning behind it shakes the room. With this, Shironi will be recognized as a noble. Rian's eyes widen, shining with excitement. Shironi, a noble. His parents are torn in two. What kind of miracle was this? Who on earth would ever be given such a chance? But to accept would feel like letting their son be taken away forever. Vincent's throat tightens, his heart breaking as he turns to his boy. "Tell me, Shironi, what should this father do?" Shironi meets his father's eyes, expression steady. He has already chosen. He reaches forward, gripping his father's hand with firm reassurance. "There's no need." His voice is clear, unwavering, shocking everyone present. The room falls into stunned silence. "I am my father's son," Shironi declares firmly. "I cannot become another man's adoptive child." "Shironi," his father stammers, his voice trembling. Raina quickly interjects. "Shironi, listen, it's only on paper. Your parents will always remain your parents. Nothing will change. You'll still achieve your dream, and you'll gain noble status. Do you realize how rare this chance is?" But Shironi's resolve is unshakable. "If the price of chasing my dream is changing fathers, then I would rather live as a commoner." The argument ignites. "A commoner can't enroll." "Then I won't go to the magic school." "Then you cannot become a mage." "Then I will not become a mage." Clumph slams his fist against the table, the sound echoing through the hall. Shironi! Why are you so stubborn? The world isn't kind. To succeed, you must be willing to sacrifice. If you cannot, was your dream so shallow to begin with? Shironi looked straight into the old general's fierce eyes. Maybe so. Vincent's vision blurs with tears as he listens to his sons stand tall for their family. Shironi's voice rings out, carrying a weight far beyond his years. No matter how grand my dream may be, it is something I received from my parents. If my parents are the roots, then my dream is the fruit. Without the roots, there can be no fruit. Memories flash before him, being discovered in the mountains, raised with nothing but love inside a humble home. His father bowing low before a noble, begging for a chance for him. Every step of his path, made possible because of them. A sad smile touches his lips. To tell me to abandon my roots now, is no different from asking me to wither and die. Thank you for the offer, but my only parents are these two people. The Ogent family is stunned, taken aback by the depth of his conviction. Clumph narrows his eyes. Was this guilt? Morality? No. What this child carried was something far deeper. Then, without warning, Vincent and Olina collapsed to their knees, their foreheads pressed to the floor. Please! Vincent cries, his voice breaking. Please take Shironi as your adoptive son. I beg of you. Father! Shironi gasps, frozen in place. Even Clumph is shaken. I understand your sentiment. But what Shironi wants. But Vincent cannot be stopped. The secret he has buried for years claws its way out, too heavy to contain. His voice cracks as he screams the words that shatter the room. Shironi is not my biological son.